I don't really know what the consensus is on the 1960 Season 2 of The Twilight Zone. From what I can see, the first season is more highly regarded historically, and most of your best of lists are going to be topped with something from Season 1. But no matter which season you prefer, Season 2 still contains several classic episodes that many will call favorites, and have gone on to be representative of the series as a whole, due to their stellar performances, imaginative concepts, and iconic twist endings. And I'm sure there are many fans that would say they actually like Season 2 better overall. Welcome back. There's a good chance that if you're watching this, you have already seen my 3-hour review of Season 1, and some of you have seen my review of Season 2 of the 1985 reboot series, which I did sort of as a joke, but I went on to fall in love with a few of that show's episodes too. I'm here to do Season 2 of the original series, for real this time. We're gonna run through each episode, talk about what I think is great, what I think sucks, praise the creative ideas where I find them, and have a little fun laughing at a few silly concepts. If you grew up with this series, I know you'll have strong protective feelings over it. Believe me, I've seen your comments on the Season 1 video. Have patience with me, be prepared for me to laugh at a few things and criticize some stories, especially near the beginning of the season. But if you stick with it, we'll get to some episodes I think are gems. And no, I'm not an AI voice, this is just how I sound. Take it up with my parents. Now, join me as we take a journey to a wondrous land of imagination. Next stop, the Twilight Zone. Episode 1, King 9 Will Not Return. We open on a beach in Africa in 1943. A crashed American bomber plane, the King 9, lies in wreckage on the shore, sometime after being shot down on its way to strike the southern tip of Italy. Interesting, I didn't know the Allies set up bases in Africa. Our main character, Captain James Embry, comes to consciousness, recounting what had happened, and begins looking for his crew amongst the wreckage. We hear his thoughts as narration, at least for now.
All right now. Piece it together. That's what I have to do, just piece it all together.
It takes him a while to recall his own name, the names of his crew members, whether they all bailed out or crashed down together. They're nowhere to be found. Calling out to them yields no results. Are they all dead, he wonders? They must have left the area, but without him? No, that doesn't make any sense either. Embry picks up static on the radio and calls in a mayday, but there's no one on the other end. What to do? There's gotta be a reason why he's the only person here. Just don't lose your mind. Keep cool. You're the person in charge, you're responsible for this plane, but much more so for the crew. Outside, he spots a canteen belonging to one of the men, and he calls out to him, but he's speaking more and more as if they can actually hear him. He's losing his grip on reality, hallucinating another man back on the plane, smiling at him creepily until he disappears. Embry can't figure out if this is some kind of gag or what. Fade to commercial break, and when we come back, Embry is still trying to get someone on the radio. He begins to try to find some kind of logic to this. Maybe in reality he's laying out on the beach with a fractured skull. He runs through several scenarios, but in all of them, this isn't reality. Maybe he's locked up in a loony bin somewhere, imagining it all. So, if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone, you may be noticing some big similarities to episode 1 of the first season, titled Where Is Everybody? In that story, a lone man wanders an empty town looking for anyone else, talking to himself, trying to figure out what's going on. It's odd that Season 2 is starting with essentially the same thing, but with a different setup. I can say with absolute certainty that this episode's execution of the concept is far less compelling. While Where Is Everybody is far from one of my favorites, what makes it strong all these decades later is the interesting and creative direction and camera work, and a very solid solo performance by the actor. He's a memorable and likable guy, which helps even if the episode does drag a bit. Here in King 9, we're really lacking that artistic flair, and the captain is fine, but it's not a standout performance or anything. I found myself growing a bit impatient with this one, and I'd already assumed a few minutes in that he's probably not actually there, so it's just a matter of waiting it out until the credits roll. The crew's all dead, and he sees jets flying above him. They're jets, but jets don't exist in 1943. How does he even know what a jet is? He shouldn't, but he does. Embry cracks up. This is all an illusion. He must be dead. He's in limbo, or he's locked up in an insane asylum. He yells a bunch more at the crew that isn't there. It's a practical joke, see? Come out and laugh at me. It's enough already. They do appear, but as soon as they do, they're gone. He collapses and begs for it all to end and to finally understand. Then, of course, the reveal. He's actually in a clinic, dreaming, just like the man was dreaming in a box in Where Is Everybody, but this dream was caused by Captain Embry seeing a newspaper article about the discovery of the crashed King 9 bomber plane 17 years after it had disappeared. See, back in 1943, Embry wasn't actually on the King 9. He was sick with a fever, or perhaps a psychological disturbance. Either way, he was discharged and the plane flew without him. His crew, along with his substitute, crashed and died that day, and he's carried that guilt with him for nearly 2 decades. Seeing the news of the discovery of the plane sent him into shock and caused the nightmare he's been living through in the hospital as he gets treated. He explains to the doctors where he's been, at the beach with the plane. He saw the crew there.
I saw Blake, but it was a mirage, an illusion. I should have been on the plane. I should have gone on that mission.
He recalls that in the dream he saw jets above. How strange for this to be a dream about the crash in 1943, but to see modern-day jets in the sky. The doctors leave him as he returns to rest. They worry that if the illusions continue, he could lose all reality. The nurse brings over Captain Embry's clothes that they left in the examination room, and they're puzzled by the sand that falls from his boot. Ooh, spooky, so he actually did go there. It wasn't just a dream. Episode written by series creator Rod Serling. Yeah, it's a weaker version of Where Is Everybody, but with a supernatural twist ending. It didn't do much for me. I was hoping for a stronger start to the season. I hate to start things off here by just criticizing and saying, yeah, kind of a whatever episode. It makes you think this video is going to be just hating on it. It's really not. I hope you'll bear with me. We're going to get to some good stuff soon, and if you like this one, fine, we're all different. Let's hope the next story is one we can both enjoy. For those of you who aren't in the mood for loads of criticism early on, I suggest jumping straight to episode 5 of this review if you want to hear me be really positive, and then go from there. Episode 2, The Man in the Bottle. Ah yes, I do remember this one being one of the better early stories of the season. Arthur Castle and his wife Edna own a pawn shop together, and he's up late tonight balancing the books, paying the bills. They're 4 months behind on gas and electric. A frequent customer, poor Mrs. Gumley, comes in to make a little small talk and offer to sell a large bottle, a valuable family heirloom.
Mrs. Gumley, it's just a plain old wine bottle. Do you know what it's worth? Nothing.
Arthur eventually takes pity on the crying woman and gives her $1 for it. She thanks him, but admits the bottle was really just a bottle and she feels bad for lying.
Maybe it'll turn out to be an heirloom.
Edna comes down and scolds him for giving out handouts. He promised he wouldn't. Arthur is starting to buckle. He starts going on about how maybe all that's left in his life is to find someone else to feel sorry for. The store has been in his family for 100 years, a store full of stuff nobody wants anymore. It killed his grandfather and his father too. It's a monument to death, to failure.
It's a shrine to failure itself, that's what it is.
There has to be more to life than this. They aren't old yet, but the store is making them old. There's another life out there that isn't just paying the next bill and trying to keep the lights on while rotting away in this tomb. He accidentally knocks the bottle over, and out comes a gas filling the room. I would run out immediately, wouldn't you? But they stand there and watch. From the mysterious gas appears a genie, who promptly presents himself as such. He promises 4 wishes to the owner of this bottle, and then he'll return to the bottle for another century. Arthur, of course, doubts the offer. Surely this is some kind of trick, but the genie gets him to play along. A hypothetical wish. What would you wish for if this were real?
I'd say I wanted that broken glass in that case to be fixed.
A simple wish, granted by the genie. Of course, we're expecting the genie to be secretly evil, but this simple wish is done with no trickery, so Arthur's trust has been won and the wishing shall begin.
Well, think, what do we want?
Edna doesn't want anything. She's scared by this awesome power and wants to just leave it alone. Arthur gets excited by the idea of wishing for money. He ignores his wife's fears as she claims this man is unholy. Arthur wishes for $1 million, which, accounting for inflation, is like $10 million today. The genie is pleased with this wish. He can be heard laughing maniacally as money rains down on the couple. They're filthy rich. In a pleasant twist, they aren't entirely selfish with their new wealth. They get everyone from the neighborhood to come by so they can give out money to their community. A few thousand for each person, money to the pastor for remodeling the church, money for poor Mrs. Gumley. It's a great day for all. The last man into the shop is from the Internal Revenue Service. This unaccounted income is about to be taxed, and if you know anything about New Deal era tax rates in the United States, you know exactly where this is going.
You owe the government approximately $907,000.
Now, I'm no expert on tax law, but this portrayal of taxes in the 1960s isn't 100% accurate. It actually comes out closer to 860,000 in taxes. And yes, that seems crazy, but that's how things were post FDR's New Deal in the 1930s. High marginal tax rates helped to lessen wealth hoarding so we didn't get billionaires. It encouraged reinvestment in business and higher worker pay as companies became more productive, contributing to a steady increase in both CEO and worker salaries over time. And it funded expansions of social programs, investment in education, infrastructure, and Social Security. Allow me to get a little conspiratorial here for a moment. Rod Serling had been working as a writer for many years at this point, but The Twilight Zone was his big hit. He was paid a lot per episode that he wrote, and he wrote 92 episodes. He must have been earning millions upon millions of dollars, and therefore losing millions upon millions of dollars to the government because everything above $400,000 was taxed at 91%. So I think Rod Serling, as a newly rich man, frustrated that he was unable to hoard all his wealth as the wealthy are prone to do, vented his anger at the tax law with this episode. It's his boo-hoo, I'm far richer than anyone who watches my show and they'll never have this tax problem, but maybe they'll be sympathetic to rich people wanting lower taxes if I show this story of a poor working class family coming into good fortune and losing so much of it to taxes. Straight up propaganda. It's just a feeling I get. At the end of the night, Arthur and Edna are left with the measly $5. Arthur accuses the genie of playing tricks on him, but no, this was merely the natural consequence of his wish. You gotta be careful.
What about it, Genie? What can we wish for now? What can come to us without tricks?
Arthur thinks hard about his next wish, and now that his wife is invested, she says he should ask for something more than money.
Something anchored. Something airtight.
They argue back and forth about it, and Arthur finally has the right idea.
Power.
The genie suggests various positions: corporate president, mayor of a city. Edna shoots it down. Too many holes.
He could go bankrupt.
Mayor of a city?
He could get voted out of office. Then what?
Arthur's got it. Leader of a country. But he's got to be specific so there's no trickery.
I want to be the ruler of a foreign country, just as I've described it. Who can't be voted out of office, but it must be a contemporary country within this century.
Edna approves of the plan, and they make the wish. The genie laughs, we fade to a new reality, and here's the twist. Oh my god, he's Hitler! But it's the end of the war. He's hiding in the bunker, about to off himself. But it's with poison, not a pistol, as what is historically reported. It's a cool twist, but I think it's a bit deflated by the show having to spell it out.
I'm Hitler. I'm in a bunker. It's the end of the war.
Yeah, we know. And I think everyone in 1960, just a decade and a half after the war, knows how Hitler died. So yeah, I could have used without the, oh my god, I'm Hitler and it's the end of the war. I'm in the bunker. Oh no. He's got one wish left, and he uses it wisely. He wishes to undo his previous wishes and just go back to how things were. He throws down the poison, and we cut to see the wine bottle shatter. Reality is restored. We are back before the follow-up wishes started. Before or after the money, I don't know. And Arthur thinks over his experience as they clean up the broken wine bottle.
And since we obviously can't afford a brand new life, suppose we give the old one a paint job or something.
What they've gotten is a new perspective on life, which is what they really needed. But they did actually get a little something extra. The glass case is still fixed from the first wish. That's nice. But Arthur turns and accidentally hits it with the broom. Broken again. Arthur and Edna have a nice laugh over the whole thing, and he goes outside to throw the broken glass away. A gas appears, and we see the bottle magically restore itself, to be picked up and opened in another 100 years. Pretty good episode, written by Rod Serling as we discussed. I think it's far better than the season opener and may actually be one of the strongest of the entire season. It's just a solid story with a happy ending and a lesson learned. I tend to prefer episodes that have characters grow and change by the end instead of just a spooky phenomenon. Episode 3, Nervous Man in a $4 Room. You know what's weird? The similarities in both how Season 1 and Season 2 start. Episode 1 is about a guy wandering around alone the whole time until the end when we see that it's all in his head. Episode 2 is about a supernatural figure that appears to a somewhat old man who sells things, like one for the angels. What's Episode 3 gonna be about? A loser who ends up finding confidence again, like what happens in Episode 3 of Season 1, Mr. Denton on Doomsday? Well, yeah! This guy Jackie is a gangster but suffers from massive insecurity. He's supposed to go out and do a job for the boss tonight, but he doesn't know what it is yet. He nervously asks for details on the phone until his boss, George, hangs up on him. After the story intro by Rod Serling, George shows up to talk about the job. There's a lot of back and forth of Jackie asking what the job is and George mysteriously not telling him. Jackie doesn't want to do another risky job again. No more heists. If he gets arrested again, he's going away for good.
George, what's the job I gotta do tonight?
No shakedowns, no deliveries to a fence. Nothing little, Jackie. Not tonight.
Tonight, Jackie is gonna kill someone who isn't paying their dues, so he's gotta go, to send a message. Jackie vehemently objects. He can't do it, he's too scared, it's gotta be someone else. Hey, guns! Another shared bit with Season 1's third episode.
You never did a job like this because you never could do a job like this. And that's why you're gonna do this one, Jackie. And that's how you're gonna get away with it.
Jackie's smacked around and bullied by George until there's no way out.
If I find out that you welched on me, Jackie, that you chickened out, you're dead.
So Jackie talks to himself in the mirror for a while, trying to justify what he's gonna do. The guy he has to kill is probably really old anyway. Can he really do it though? Am I losing your attention with this one? I really struggled here. I think this episode is pretty boring and just drags. I'll try to get through it quickly so we can move on. Jackie suddenly starts acting like a confident strong man, pretending he's telling off George instead of whimpering before him. He can act tough when he's all alone, but it's all a facade. In the mirror, he tries to talk himself into it, and he says, "I wish I could trade you in." He turns his back to the mirror and lights a cigarette, and in traditional Twilight Zone spookiness, another version of himself is talking to him from the mirror. It's his darker half, or rather his more confident half, finally here on the surface. He represents the instincts he's always ignored as he got himself into trouble. His other side scolds him for all the stupid things he's done, letting people talk him into committing crimes, joining gangs. He's trying to talk him into standing up for himself, not taking this dangerous job and getting them both killed. They talk about the girl they loved back in the day, the girl they lost because Jackie went to jail for 2 years. They argue and argue for what feels like an eternity. This is a hard one to have to rewatch for this video. Jackie gets on the phone with George, who wants to know what the holdup is. He says he's on his way. Jackie's other half insists on being let out. Let him take over.
It's time to be something. Jackie, let me out. Let me take over, Jackie.
He begs to be let out, and Jackie freaks. Fine, I'll let you out, wise guy. Suddenly the mirror starts to spin, and Jackie's other half is now liberated. George comes by to tell Jackie that he knows he didn't do the job, and he wants an explanation.
Well, what do you got to say for yourself, Crumb? Huh? What do you got to say for yourself?
But this is the new Jackie. He resigns from George's employment, returning the gun, and beating up George a little for good measure. George runs away like a little baby, and Jackie checks out of the motel.
This is John Rhodes, room 14. I'm checking out. No, I'm not coming back.
This is John now, and Jackie is stuck in the mirror. He's been put away, and John leaves to live a better life. Story written by Rod Serling. Yeah, I don't like this one very much, and I don't have much to say now that it's over. The mirror effects were pretty cool, I guess. Episode 4, A Thing About Machines. Is our pattern going to continue? If both first episodes were about a guy wandering around, both second episodes featured a spiritual visitor, and both third episodes were about a guy finding confidence, are both of the fourth episodes about a rich, out-of-touch older person going crazy inside their mansion? Yes, this episode is about an old rich man who is tormented by the sound of machines in his big house when he's alone. And episode 4 of season 1, the 16mm Shrine, is about an old rich actress who yearns for the past, hiding away in her house and disappears into the movie screen in her private viewing area. Both main characters are stuck in their ways, living in mansions, yearning for simpler times when they understood and operated in the world better. This is crazy, they're just repeating the same story bits episode by episode, in order. Has anyone ever noticed this before? Another thing these two fourth episodes have in common is that they are absolutely terrible. Agonizing to watch. And I'm sorry for the negativity so early in this video. I really like the Twilight Zone overall, and even if I think some stories are dated or silly, I can at least see their artistic value or their message or how impactful they were at the time. It's just that the really good episodes tend to start appearing after the initial bunch. Season 1's first amazing episode, to me, is Time Enough at Last, which comes 8 episodes in after we've gone through a few mediocre ones, a few good ones like Walking Distance and The Lonely, One for the Angels. It just takes a little time to really get going. Then we get some truly incredible stories like The Last Flight and When the Sky Was Opened, Long Live Walter Jameson. So, Mr. Finchley is an old bitter man who comes home to his mansion to find the TV repairman fixing his TV after he'd kicked his foot through it. Last month he came around to fix the radio after Finchley had thrown it down the stairs. He mistreats his technological devices, and the repairman doesn't like it. Finchley is a total dick to him, showing no respect for his line of work even though he regularly needs him. Once he's finally done, the clock begins to chime without stopping. Finchley throws it to the ground, smashing it with a fire poker. The next day, he scolds his secretary for not typing up a report fast enough, blaming the typewriter.
Thomas Jefferson wrote the entire Declaration of Independence with a feather quill, and it took him only half a day.
She's had it with his attitude and quits. Finchley begs her to stay. Maybe they could go to dinner.
How very sweet, Mr. Finchley. Thank you. But no, thank you.
Well, if she won't go out with him, will she just keep him company? He can't bear to be alone, and confesses to his secretary that when he's alone, the TV and radio come on and make sounds to torment him. Last night he was driving, and the car made a turn itself and crashed into the garage.
I have never been able to operate machines.
She recommends he sees a doctor, but he's against the idea. They send people to the doctor for any reason today. He knows what he sees, he's not deranged. But he is quite full of rage, screaming at her for her ridiculous advice until she's driven away.
I will not be intimidated by machines, so it follows that no empty-headed little female with a mechanical face can do anything to me either.
This mortal combat between you and the appliances. I hope you lose.
Get out!
As soon as she leaves, the typewriter comes alive and types a message to him. Get out of here, Finchley. The TV comes on and there's a dancing woman on the screen. He watches for a while until she too tells him to get out.
Why don't you get out of here, Finchley?
The TV's going, the typewriter's going, he screams madly from the staircase. He starts calling up old acquaintances, old girlfriends, trying to get someone to join him for dinner. He's gotta get out of the house. He complains about the phone and throws it down. In the bathroom, he plugs in his electric razor, which starts fucking flying, and then we just abandon that? Okay. Outside, his car has apparently rolled away and almost killed a boy. Time to get drunk. Hey, Finchley, that's a good idea. Alcohol should get me through this snooze fest of a story. Oh, God, my fucking head. What was I talking about? Oh, right. The Machines episode. That night, all the machines start attacking him. The razor's coming down the stairs. Outside, the car is chasing him. The car pushes him into the pool where he drowns. I guess the man doesn't know how to swim in his own pool. Next day, he's dead in the back of an ambulance. Doctor and cops say he was found at the bottom of the pool as if he was weighted down. That's the end. A story written by Rod Serling. I have no words. I'm moving on to the next episode now and hoping for something better, and maybe we can give another writer a chance? Maybe? Episode 5, The Howling Man. Sometimes you can tell an episode is going to be good just from the way it looks when it starts. The camera work, the setting. Here we have a man who seems to be losing his mind, recounting the story of the night he was lost in the rain while traveling. Our character David comes across a castle and begs them to let him in. Walking through a large, open, and quiet space, following his guide, more men coming out of the shadows. All of them wear robes and carry long hooked canes. Their guide, Brother Christopher, says he must go talk to Brother Jerome about their new visitor. He hears a loud howl coming from one of the corridors. Christopher tells him it's only the wind. Meeting with Brother Jerome, David asks for shelter, some food, but neither shall be given to him. On his way out, he collapses from exhaustion. They have no choice but to help him. I just want to take a moment to admire this amazing set. I doubt they constructed this for the episode. It has to be something from a movie, right? I can't find what it's from, but it's a great place to shoot an episode. It's our first story that takes place outside of normal society. So late at night, David wanders the castle, following the howl that has returned. It leads him to a prison cell with a man inside begging to be set free.
They're mad, Mr. Ellington. All of them. Raving mad.
He claims to have been kidnapped while he was out walking with his girlfriend. He was struck multiple times by Jerome's staff because his girlfriend rejected Jerome's advances.
Is it wrong to kiss? Tell me.
I don't think so.
Of course you don't.
David says he'll speak with Brother Jerome about this, but the man says not to because Jerome is the worst of them. David tries anyway. He's being kicked out for snooping around, but he wants answers first. Why is he being forced out?
He's the man you have locked up in the cell, isn't it, brother?
The one we just left. The one who's been screaming his head off.
Jerome says David doesn't know what he's saying. No man has ever been imprisoned here. The howl sounds again.
Oh, no, don't tell me you didn't hear that.
David swears to find out what they're doing, and he will call on the police to free the imprisoned man. Jerome insists there is no man, but if he's really gonna call the police, maybe telling him the truth will persuade him not to. Jerome says that he did not lie that there is no man locked up. It's the devil.
What you saw is not a man. It is the devil himself.
David is of course skeptical, but pretends to go along with this absurd story. Jerome knows that he doesn't believe him because they live away from society while he has moved on. Surely David is the wiser man, yes? Well, it has not always been like this. Jerome once lived as he did.
I coped with your world for 40 years. The best schools, a degree in philosophy, a job that took me to the ends of the earth. This beard, this staff, and this faith are merely the results of a different point of view.
Jerome asks for an open mind as the howling continues to interrupt them. This place was given to their brotherhood to look after and use as a place to save souls and fight for the truth.
Truth is our dogma. We believe it to be man's greatest weapon against the devil, who is the father of all lies.
He says that after the war, unhappiness was everywhere except here. This townspeople continued on, and a place that perseveres like this is not something Satan wants to see when the rest of the world is plunging into darkness. So he came here, and they stopped him. They locked him away and sealed the door with the staff of truth. Now, this staff was originally supposed to be a cross, but the producers of the Twilight Zone were worried about backlash from religious viewers, so staff of truth. It's silly, but so are crosses too, I guess, so whatever. Jerome does not see the devil as a man, but David sees him as a man because the devil can take any shape he wants to manipulate people.
I had seen him before in all parts of the world, in all forms and guises, wherever there was sin.
David can't believe what he's being told. How can they have contained the devil if there is still suffering in the world?
It is the unnatural catastrophes, the great wars, the wholesale sinning that we have stopped.
David pretends to believe him. Meanwhile, if he is to stay here, he must stay with Brother Christopher and be under his supervision. Now, if I were Jerome, I'd have every single person in the castle watching over this untrustworthy visitor. Definitely mistake, because he goes straight to the man in the cell and tells him what Jerome said, that he's the devil.
He said you were the devil. What a dream for an old devil. To catch the devil and lock him up.
The man doesn't want David to call the police because he's sure they'd make him disappear before the cops arrived. He needs to simply get out. They're interrupted by Brother Christopher, who guides David to his quarters for the night. He locks the door for his own protection and then falls asleep because he's old and there's no air conditioning here. David grabs the key and slips out of the room. He makes his way down to the man in the cell and asks what he needs to do to let him out.
What do you want me to do? Lift off the wooden bolt?
Yes, very strange indeed that the only thing holding him in is the Staff of Truth, and he could easily move it himself. We saw earlier that he was able to reach his entire arm through the bars, so why does he need help?
Is this all that holds you in?
Yes, lift it off.
Why haven't you done it yourself?
The man says David has to act now or they'll both be killed. Christopher awakes and yells to stop. The man is freed, and as David turns his back, the man raises his hand and sends a shock through David that knocks him to the floor. He heads for the door, his appearance changing with every passing column in a pretty cool makeup transition sequence. His hairstyle changes, his ears are sharpening, horns are sprouting from his forehead, as his coat, given to him by David, becomes a long cape. It is the devil, and now he's gone. Brother Jerome isn't mad, he pities David. From this day forward, he will always know what he's done. The devil is out there free because of him. David's narration begins to play as we fade to present day. He says he dedicated himself to trying to recapture the evil he unleashed, an evil that spread through the world, leading us into more wars and misery. And now he has him. The devil is locked away behind this mini staff of truth. Oh my god. Maybe they just should have stuck with the cross idea. He's explaining this all to his housekeeper. She must not open the door and let him out. He'll be sending him back to Brother Jerome soon. But he must go out now and make preparations on this rainy night, much like the one from his story.
Remember, keep that door locked.
Guess what? The housekeeper hears the howl, opens the door, and, well, it's too dark to see anything, but we assume the devil is now free again. Great job, David! Why did you think it was a good idea to just leave the housekeeper guarding this door? Well, it's a super clumsy ending to a good story, elevated by strong dramatic performances, sets, costumes, and better than average direction and cinematography. Written by Charles Beaumont, writer of many Twilight Zone episodes like Season 1's Elegy, Perchance to Dream, and Long Live Walter Jameson, one of my favorites. This episode reminded me a lot of the movie I Trapped the Devil, which I assume was inspired by the Howling Man. It's a really cool, slow, atmospheric horror movie about a guy who says he has the devil trapped in his basement. I recommend it. Yeah, good episode, and it breaks the story pattern we found between the first 4 episodes of both seasons. Let's see what's next. Episode 6, Eye of the Beholder. We've arrived at the first truly classic episode of Season 2 of The Twilight Zone. It is highly respected amongst fans, but this is one of those episodes that breaks out of the fanbase into the mainstream. When the common folk think of The Twilight Zone, they often think of this episode, or episodes with a similar twist. It's not a complicated plot at all, it's actually one of the simplest stories they've done, but layered into that story is depth and many thought-provoking, conversation-starting ideas. For most of it, we are exclusively with a woman named Janet Tyler, who is undergoing her 11th surgery for some kind of facial deformity. We aren't given any details other than she's so horrific that her unique bone structure doesn't allow for surgical correction, and according to state law, if this final attempt at an alternate approach doesn't work, she'll have to be shipped off to a colony of other people with her condition to live amongst them. So we're in a sick, sort of totalitarian world where people are segregated for differences they can't even help. Out in the halls, the nurses and doctors view state broadcasts of the dear leader speaking of the beauty of their total uniformity as a society. It's all dialogue here, Janet speaking of her childhood and how it's oddly comforting to be in the dark like this. The doctor speaks of the complicated nature of the procedure and what the next step could be, that she must go away for not looking the way society needs her to, and think about how wonderful it is that the state has paid for all these treatments to try to help her. Viewers today will likely pick up on it pretty quickly that everyone in the episode, apart from Janet, is shrouded in darkness. And if they won't show their faces, what does that mean for our main character? I assume that in 1960, a good deal of people took a bit longer to realize that they're hiding everyone's faces. But whether you notice it or not, the reveal still lands and the episode's impact is equally strong. When it comes time to remove the bandages, the show takes its time, having us spend 4 whole minutes as layer by layer comes off. With her face finally exposed, the staff reacts in horror and we see the truth. She looks normal. Or normal to us. This world is inhabited by pig-faced people. Their standard of beauty reigns supreme, because that's what they know. Janet runs away trying to escape, and we see more of the state propaganda on TV.
A single norm, a single approach, a single virtue, a single morality.
The doctor eventually catches up to her and tries to calm her down. There's someone here to help her, see? A man with her condition is here to accompany her to her new home. A place where she'll be loved for who she is and her facial deformity doesn't matter. With a little conversation, she seems comforted in the presence of someone so kind. The episode ends with them walking past the group of pig-faced individuals off down the hallway to Sanctuary. I know I'm not doing this episode justice. Just describing what happens doesn't really make you see what's so compelling about it. That's largely because the strengths of it, in my opinion, lie in the acting and the direction. The performance of Maxine Stewart as the voice of Janet under the bandages is top of the class. She is incredible, and Eye of the Beholder would not be nearly as good without her.
I used to like to look at the clouds a lot. If you stare at them long enough, they become things, you know what I mean? I never even wanted to be loved, really. I just wanted people not to scream when they looked at me.
Congregated. Oh, you mean segregated? You're talking about a ghetto, aren't you? A ghetto designed for freaks. It hasn't the right to penalize somebody for an accident of birth. It hasn't the right to make ugliness a crime.
If I'm still terribly ugly, well, is there any other alternative? Could I please be put away?
Director Douglas Hayes, responsible for several Twilight Zone episodes, including one of my absolute favorites, And When the Sky Opened, expertly creates a dramatic and tense tone, cleverly hiding faces not just in shadows, but with objects in the foreground. Just look at this awesome shot as the camera moves to obscure the nurse's face, perfectly timed. According to Wikipedia, he actually cast the actors by turning his back to them, focusing only on discovering the most sympathetic voices. This was truly made with a lot of dedication and love for the craft. I also have to give credit to series creator Rod Serling, the credited writer. I generally find Serling's stories to be not as high quality as some of the stories by guest writers like Richard Matheson, Charles Beaumont, George Clay Johnson, but he knocked it out of the park with this one. And to really appreciate how good this episode is, you have to think about it. What is it saying? Is it about more than just the subjectivity of beauty and the pressure to conform to what society deems acceptable? Yeah, of course, we could go into it and be here for half an hour. Instead, I'm going to leave you with a recommendation to check out this article on Medium.com that dives into the story's themes and messages. I'm gonna leave it there. If you haven't actually seen this episode and you're not in the mood to just watch a bunch of Twilight Zone, this is one you can just pop on solo. It's very good. Episode 7, Nick of Time. Engaged couple Dawn and Patricia are driving to New York City and make a stop in a small town in Ohio, getting their car towed to a repair shop to get a new fuel pump. Hey, is that William Shatner? Pre-Star Trek? Hot damn, that's awesome. They're going to be in town for a while, so might as well get some lunch. Patricia is just trying to enjoy where they are, but Don can't stop worrying about the promotion he's gunning for at work. They're a very cute couple, and Shatner displays his on-screen charisma immediately when he doesn't let a light pole separate them. They walk to a diner, and Patricia suggests they sit at a booth. She puts a song in the jukebox, which Don takes advantage of to start dancing with his lovely lady. Once they're sat at the table, Dawn is interested in playing the Mystic Seer, a teller of fortune. For 1 penny, it'll answer your yes or no question, like a Magic 8 Ball.
Does anything exciting ever happen around here? It is quite possible.
They place their lunch order, a tomato sandwich and iced coffee, and Dawn wants to talk to the seer some more. Am I going to be promoted?
It has been decided in your favor.
Ah, you see, your worries are over.
Now reassured of his fortune, he calls the office to ask about the promotion, risking the outcome by badgering about it. He spends a lot of money to make the long-distance call, asking his wife to keep her fingers crossed. So Don is being established right away as a genuinely superstitious man, crossing his fingers, playing a fortune teller, and keeping a lucky rabbit's foot with him, connected to a 4-leaf clover. The call goes well, and there's good news. He got the job.
You're now looking at the world's youngest office manager.
And I'm happy to say I told you so.
And so did he.
With some celebratory music on the jukebox and digging into their just-arrived lunch of tomato and bread, ew, Don wants to play the seer again. And I just gotta note, both William Shatner and Patricia Breslin are excellent here. Yes, Patricia is played by an actress of the same name. They have wonderful chemistry, and when characters are this likable, it seriously elevates the story.
Does he, she love me? I know the answer to that one, huh?
Don submits his next question. Is it really going to be 4 hours until they leave? And it says, you never know. This gets Don curious. Why? Will something bad happen to them in this town?
If you move soon. What does that mean?
Don asks if they're supposed to stay there, as his wife begins to look a little concerned, but laughs it off. The mystic seer says that makes a lot of sense, and now superstitious Don has it in his head that they have to stay at this restaurant for hours or they'll die or something. The mystic seer confirms they should stay until 3 o'clock, and Patricia can't believe how crazy Don is acting. Don tries to distract her from his behavior.
Don't you want some ice cream?
It's close to 3 now, and Patricia is just weirded out. She wants to leave, even though they've waited this long. Oh, why can't they just stay a few more minutes until 3? But they leave. Don pays the bill, and they cross the street. Don continues to obsess over how right the machine was.
Well, why was it so specific? If you move soon, that makes a good deal of sense. Try again, there's no question about it.
Don, it's just a napkin holder in a little cafe in Ridgeview, Ohio.
He knows he's being superstitious and likens it to being an alcoholic. His wife must pity him, but she assures him that she loves him dearly. They continue to bicker about it, Don insisting the machine was right about everything, and when they cross the street, a truck is speeding their way. They panic, and Don rushes his wife to safety on the other side. They clearly could have just backed up because they weren't that far into the street at all, so personally I think this is a problem of Don's own making. But the show sells it more like an actual danger that they had to escape. Okay, fine. It is 3 o'clock though, and this not only confirms Don's superstitions, but frightens Patricia a bit as well.
I admit it was a strange coincidence.
It was a coincidence? Well, what are you worrying about us going back then?
I'm not.
So stop worrying. For a coincidence, it was pretty far-fetched.
Maybe.
They make their way back into the diner, but their table is occupied. Don's wife recommends trying one of the mystic seers at the bar or the other tables. Rattled by the near accident, the couple is tense, debating what happened.
You said 3 o'clock, not the machine. You decided to sit in here as long as we did. You.
Upon seeing the table get freed up, Don gets 10 more pennies and starts the questions. Did it know about the car? Will they reach New York? Patricia's patience is wearing out.
You could get the same kind of answers from any one of these machines in here?
The same kind, maybe, but not the same answers.
Don wants to know if it'll really take 4 hours to get out, and the seer says that it has already been taken care of. Don lights up, and sure enough, right at this moment, the mechanic finds them and says the car's ready, early. Okay, that's pretty crazy.
Coincidence?
Yes.
Dawn challenges Patricia to ask something herself, and she tries to trick the seer, asking if they'll reach Columbus by tomorrow, but they're going through Columbus. The seer's answer actually works around her trick question.
If that's what you really want.
She asks more and more questions, becoming distraught, scared of her husband, and wanting to leave. Dawn just keeps pumping pennies in, asking repeated questions about their future.
This machine is predicting our future. Do you think I could just walk away from it?
I'm not talking about that machine anymore.
Patricia says that the machine is controlling his life. Whether what it says is true or not, it's controlling him. She begs him to leave, saying they can have a life together, but they have to make it themselves. This finally gets through to him. He confesses to being a jerk and decides to live his own life with Patricia.
We'll drive out of this town and go where we want to go, anytime we please.
Don, I love you.
I love you too, baby.
Dawn gives a big tip to the restaurant owner and they exit. Right then, a tired-looking couple comes in and sits at the same table. Terrified, they ask the Mystic Seer for permission to ask more questions, asking if they'll be able to leave town today.
Do you think we might leave Ridgeview today? Is there any way out? Any way at all?
The episode ends with them being stuck here while Dawn and Patricia drive away. Good fucking episode, everything about it. The acting, the pacing, the tension, the somewhat ambiguous ending. I love that you're left wondering, is this other couple truly trapped by the inconceivably magic box at a restaurant? Have they simply fallen deep into superstition? I think we are to assume that it's just superstition, but hey, weirder things have happened in the Twilight Zone, so maybe it actually does hold some real power. It leaves you wondering, who wrote this episode? There's my boy Richard Matheson, MVP of Season 1, writer of several of the best episodes across the series, legendary science fiction writer. My favorite Twilight Zone episode, The Last Flight, was written by him. It's no surprise that this essentially perfect short story comes from him. As of this moment in the video, my favorite episode of Season 2, possibly in my top 10 personal favorites. Dawn enters the story as a superstitious man. He falls down a hole of despair and addiction, but comes out the other side, choosing a free life with his loving partner. It makes you feel good, but then we also get the creepy Twilight Zone twist at the end to complement it. It's great. I think it's rare to get both a happy character resolution and a dark twist ending in the same episode. Think about that. What other stories offer that? Let me know if one comes to mind. I will say though, one small criticism if I may, Nick of Time? He's using pennies. If they had to use a common phrase, they should have called it penny for your thoughts, right? Oh well. Episode 8, The Lateness of the Hour. Alright, after talking about two of the finest episodes of the season, and the entire series overall, I'm left with little patience for stories that are just okay. And that's what we have here. I'm gonna fly through this one. There's a rich family that stays indoors all the time. They just hang around the house, mostly in this room, getting massages from their servants and reading and smoking. Everything is optimized to be perfect for comfort. The daughter has become fed up with perfection and security. She wants to go out. Maybe tonight they can go to a restaurant, something different. Father says, yeah, it would be different, but they'd get wet in the rain. The food wouldn't be as good as it is here. She lashes out at her parents, hating their life of comfort, served by all the workers in the house. She hates all of them. The maid accuses her of being jealous and gets herself thrown down the stairs, smiling as she gets back up. It's revealed to us that all the servants are robots, which the daughter already knows. They're just telling us, the viewers. For a while, it's just a lot of back and forth, yelling, complaining, justifying.
Well, you've been isolated, yes. But what you think of as imprisonment just happens to be asylum. And security, yes.
Survival as a vegetable survives. What you're becoming and what you're making me become. A vegetable.
A stepladder.
She hates this life. They've turned her life into one equal to that of the robots. She begs Father to destroy his creations, but he can't. They're true beings. They have memories implanted into them. They have lives. She wants freedom. She tells the robots to shut up, blah, blah, blah. There's really not much to say here. The one interesting thing is that she plants the idea in the robots' heads that while they are indestructible, Father is not. And it looks like for a moment it occurs to them to kill their creator. Okay, that would have been a cool turn, but no, that's not what happens. Father just destroys all the robots to convince his daughter to stay.
I want you to take all the servants downstairs to my workroom. Just stay there until I come.
The robots complain and fight for their lives, but they have orders. They go down to be dismantled. Daughter is quite pleased. Mother is worried about their new life without servants, but Father assures her it'll be fine. Daughter is excited. Now they can have parties. She can meet a man and have children. But no, there will be no children. Twist! She's a robot! She was created to be their daughter, and all her memories are fake. There are no photos of her as a child in the photo book. She's a robot. No!
You built a daughter!
Jada, I created you as a thing of love.
I'm a thing! I'm a machine! A machine!
Father doesn't want to destroy her, so he reprograms her to be the new maid, giving massages to Mother. Dun dun dun! It's a whatever episode. Fine. Not horrible. Written by Rod Serling. Moving on. Episode 9, The Trouble with Templeton. What episode is this? I swear I just watched this entire series, and looking at the title, I simply do not recall this one. Probably doesn't bode well. Okay, we have a rich guy, Mr. Templeton, spying on a guest named Edward out by the pool with his girlfriend, I guess. Oh no, that's actually Mr. Templeton's much younger wife, flirting with what I guess is a new guest around where they live or something, I don't know. Templeton is a Broadway actor, past his time, taking his hourly medication, pondering just how long he has left in the world. Today he's going into a rehearsal for a new play, but there's no heart in it.
And when it's over, they'll all say to me, "You were wonderful, Mr. Templeton," so that I can go back there and do it all over again next night.
He'll go do the play, it'll be great, the crowd will cheer, and he'll come home. It's all the same, he doesn't even remember when he loved what he did. He begins to reminisce about his first wife, married at 18 but dead by 25, still missing her all these years later. God, I barely remember this episode. The next day, he comes in for the rehearsal to discover the director has been fired. Now there's a new guy, a real fiery spirit with an intense directing method. He walks in, overhearing how the director is speaking to the cast that's already there.
I will direct this play my way at all times. Is that clear?
The producer is quite happy about the new director's method, but Templeton is obviously worried. Worried because he doesn't like the director's style, or worried because he's going to be forced to actually work?
Are you ready to work with us, Templeton? I asked you a question. I expect an answer.
Yeah, he's afraid of work. He doesn't have the spirit in him anymore. He runs out the back door and finds himself accepted by a crowd of cheering people. They love him. He was great. But what did he do? Has he lost his mind? An inspection of the wall shows that we've... What? An inspection of the wall shows that we've gone back in time to 1927, when he was in his prime and everyone loved him. How did he go back in time? No idea. It just happens in the Twilight Zone sometimes. People just open a door and they're in another time without explanation. It happens a lot. We gotta come up with a name for it. How about Time Stumble? Oops, I'm suddenly in another time for no reason. Anyway, since it's 1927, his first wife is still alive. He finds out where she is at a popular club and rushes over to see her. His old friend Freddie is there, alive. It's Prohibition era when the sale of alcohol was illegal, so they gotta knock on the door and be let in. The door opens and, oh my god, a black person! In the Twilight Zone! Blow your party whistles if you got him. This almost never happens. He's not an actual character like in Season 1's The Big Tall Wish, but you know what? I'm gonna count it. Hey man, you're doing a great job playing this door guy. Nice to see you. Let's put it on the board. Templeton is blown away by the lively bar scene, which is pretty cool to see. It's a really full production. He spots his love at the table, having a blast with fellow actor Barney Pfluger. He takes a seat and can't believe what he's seeing. His wife rejects his proposal to go somewhere private to talk. She's here to drink and eat. If he has something to say to her, say it here. She doesn't seem that interested, though. In all this confusion, he tries to explain. This isn't makeup, he's grown old. She and Barney have only been memories for so long.
I have you back again. You're alive. You didn't die.
They pretend to understand what he's talking about. They humor him and just keep the party going. Templeton doesn't remember her like this, and here he is faced with the reality of his past. Nostalgia has blinded him to how things really were with her. She calls him a silly old man and goes back to partying with Barney. Man, I really relate to this when I think about a relationship I had like 10 years ago. It's bad to romanticize the past when it was actually quite damaging. Templeton wants nothing to do with whatever's going on here. He's grown out of it, so he runs out. Then we get this beautiful representation of this part of the world fading away as he leaves it, going silent, still, fading to black as the characters cease to exist. He makes it back to the theater and the door brings him back to the current time. Was that real or just in his head? He pulls the script out and sees the words on the page are actually the experience he just had.
They were acting for me.
I don't really get this part. I don't know why a magical script needed to be part of this story, but regardless, he's found a new appreciation for the present and for the art. He's in 100% to make this play a success, but he also demands some respect.
And it is definitely Mr. Templeton, especially to one so young as you.
Next, he kicks the producer out, and the director starts to speak to him much differently. Templeton is ready to get to work.
The first day of rehearsal is the most important date in the life of a play.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice story. Like I said, I enjoy stories where characters change for the better. The sudden trip back in time seems a bit random, but whatever, it's fine. Story written by E. Jack Newman? Oof, your name is E. Jack? That's rough, man. What else has he done? Only this episode, but he did a lot of stuff from the 50s through the 80s. Alright, E. Jack, pretty good story, good message, and a pretty good performance by Brian Ahern. I was a little worried going back to this one, but it turned out alright. Episode 10, A Most Unusual Camera. Like a spooky supernatural camera? It kind of makes me think of Say Cheese and Die, one of my first favorite books as a young boy. Stories about cameras that can tell the future are pretty common. I imagine that's what we'll get here. Looking around online, this episode appears to be disliked unless you see it for what it is, a comedy episode. You can tell quickly from the tone, the flat directing style, and the exaggerated acting. Just listen to the way they talk. I'm waiting for the laugh track.
Jensen J. Brown, the proprietors of the shop, listed the following collector's items as among the goods stolen.
These are some dumb rummage sale. They're worth about half a shuck apiece.
It's a funny episode, and one that I really enjoy. Chester and Paula are a couple of thieves in a hotel room, fresh off a job at an antique shop, but it seems like what they took doesn't have much value. But there's this interesting old camera. It doesn't open, and there's no way to put film in it. He takes a shot of his wife over by the window, and they go right back to bickering about their line of work and the low returns they're seeing. When out pops the photo, ready to be viewed. And would you look at that, she's wearing a fur coat that she definitely doesn't have. She doesn't see anything wrong with the photo until it's spelled out to her. Our characters are dumb, by the way.
I get it. Camera's strictly for laughs. Strictly for laughs. It's a gag camera. The negatives have got pictures on them. All this does is take the faces.
What?
That's just ridiculous. It's insane to think this stolen camera already had a photo of a woman in a fur coat ready and it just put her face on it. That level of technology in 1960 is impossible. But our characters are dumb because this whole episode is just for fun. After some more bickering, they try to open the big box from their antique shop job, and there's the fur coat. She puts it on without connecting the dots to the photo because she's dumb, but Chester notices. Paula sees the photo and now they both know this camera is special. Chester can't sleep. He suspects the camera is showing the future and could come from something evil. But Paula says to stop worrying, it's just a camera. She takes another picture, this time of the hotel door.
This thing could come from witches or sorcerers. It could be loaded with black magic.
It's a kooky camera, that's all.
The picture comes up and there's a man in the door, Paula's brother Woodward.
He's in jail 7 years for breaking and entering, and that was only a year ago.
Paula says her heart is palpitating, and this time Chester is trying to be the voice of reason. It's not possible for Woodward to be at the door. He's 900 miles away in prison. Well, Woodward walks in.
I broke out. Me and another guy in a laundry truck. It's nice, huh?
Woodward chats a bit while Chester and Paula stand there speechless. Chester passes him the photo and Woodward doesn't know what to make of it, hilariously saying, "How come?"
How come?
All three sit around discussing this magical item and how they could use it.
Maybe we could sell tickets. Take pictures like at a carny and then...
Chester doesn't like the idea. Instead, he thinks it could be an opportunity to do something good in their crummy lives for once.
Well, now we finally got something that might do something good for somebody else. Science could use something like this. Ooh, we got something here for humanity.
Chester makes the other two feel bad about their selfishness and loses himself in the potential glory of being seen as a generous man.
I say let's give this to the world. A gift from Chester Diedrich and his wife.
Me too, Chet.
Paula is charmed by Chester's turn, but it doesn't last long after Woodward turns on the tube and watches a horse race. It suddenly occurs to Chester that they could take a picture of the scoreboard and use it to place a big sure bet.
We're going to take a picture of the winning board at the racetrack before the race.
They explain it to Woodward, who's very slow.
Through to you, Woodward. Look, we take a picture of the winning board. The picture has the winning numbers on the board. Yeah, now I get it.
They pool their money together and they're gonna make $1 million. At the races, they take the photo, place the bet, and it's a winner. Several bets leave them drowning in cash. They go back to the hotel to celebrate and make some deals. The hotel attendant comes up to collect their dinner plates and he spots the camera. He's French, so he can actually read the inscription on it, which says 10 to an owner. So he asks how you put more film in it. Chester realizes that if the camera only has 10 uses, they're almost out. He kicks out the attendant and they count how many photos they've taken. 8. They've only got 2 left. And now the fighting begins. Woodward says they should sell the camera. Chester says they gotta go down to the track tomorrow and bet 2 more times. Paula calls them crazy and says they should save it for an emergency. I'm with Paula on that one. They all grab it and accidentally take a picture, the camera facing towards Paula. She panics, claiming heart palpitations again. The picture pops up and it shows Paula frightened.
She's screaming because somebody's trying to do something to her husband.
Chester thinks Woodward is going to try to kill her, but it could easily be that she's screaming from Chester attacking her brother. They tussle and they both fall out the window to their deaths. Paula is devastated. She's lost both men in her life. How can she go on?
We must muddle through these things. We must live with tragedy.
With a new pep in her step, thinking only of money, she takes the final photo of the 2 men on the ground. Then the attendant comes into the room, seeing that the men just fell out the window, and he's here to take all the money. He says not to call the cops because she'll be blamed for murder. Paula doesn't know how to stop him. She's getting cleaned out. He considers leaving her the camera, not knowing its power, but first he shows her the picture. Hey, there are more than 2 bodies in the picture. Paula runs to look and falls out the window herself. This is really silly. The attendant looks at the photo again and realizes there are actually 4 bodies in it. So he goes to look and he falls out too. End of episode. Okay, this is just ridiculous. I get that this episode is much lighter, it's not meant to be taken seriously, but come on, that's a sloppy ending for an otherwise entertaining story. I mentioned the Goosebumps book Say Cheese and Die at the beginning, and it's reported that R.L. Stine was directly inspired by this episode. It would make a lot of sense. It's a story about showing how people are gonna die. I find the comedic tone of this episode refreshing. It reminds me of the Mighty Casey from Season 1, which was also kinda silly. Episode 11, The Night of the Meek. You know, a TV show only truly becomes part of Western culture once it starts to have Christmas episodes. It was a big deal for South Park, I imagine it was a big deal for the Twilight Zone. And hey, this is one of my favorites of the season. It's Christmas Eve and the department store Santa hasn't shown up for work. That Santa, Henry Corwin, is down at the bar getting sloshed. He's gotta get moving and starts to pay his bill when a couple of lovely kids from the block say hi through the window.
Why isn't there a real Santa Claus? For kids like that.
He tries to sneak a free drink before heading out and wandering the snowy streets. No longer able to stand, the kids come over to talk to Santa, begging him for toys. Henry cries, unable to help them, wishing he could. He makes his way into the department store, derailing not just the night, but this poor boy's train. Oh my god, another black person! Put it on the board! The manager scolds Henry for being an hour late and for showing up drunk again, but does not tell him to get out. Talking to just the first child, Henry collapses.
Hope this isn't going to be a traumatic experience for you, son!
Is there some trouble here, madam?
Well, that's it. He's fired.
This is indefensible. And you have my abject apologies. I can either drink or I can weep. Christmas is more than barging up and down department store aisles and pushing people out of the way.
After being fired, he leaves still wearing the Santa suit, rented from an outside provider. That's how this story keeps him dressed as Santa Claus.
I'm an aging, purposeless relic of another time. A street filled with hungry kids and shabby people. You know another reason why I drink, Mr. Dundee? So that when I walk down the tenements, I can really think it's the North Pole and the children are elves and that I'm really Santa Claus.
What a sad tone for a Christmas episode. This guy isn't just some drunk fool, he's an idealist and desperately wishes for the happiness of others. He wishes for it so badly that in the Twilight Zone, that wish might just be granted. In the alley, a cat knocks over a giant bag of garbage, and when he turns back to look at it, it's become a sack of Christmas presents. This town now has its own personal Santa Claus, for real. First stop is a space for the needy to gather and celebrate the holiday with songs and sobriety, with music played by a town church leader. Henry barges in and starts handing out gifts, able to pull out of his bag anything someone asks for.
Could I have a smoking jacket?
A smoking jacket to go with the pipe part? I'll see what I can get there, your smoking jacket.
Oh.
The sister wants an explanation of where he got all these items he's so gleefully giving away.
And as long as it's putting out, I'm putting in.
Hey, that's my life motto. Henry pulls out a cane and gives it to an old man, gives out a few more presents on his way out, and sees that the sister has brought a police officer.
You drunk? Of course I'm drunk. I'm intoxicated with the spirit of the old, intoxicated with the magic and wonder that is Christmas Eve.
The cop wants to know where the receipts are. He doesn't have them. So all the presents get confiscated, and Henry's pulled into the station for interrogation. Surely he took it all from the department store. The manager comes in, relishing the idea of Henry going to prison. But when he reaches in the bag, all he finds are cans and an alley cat. With no idea what's happening, the cops let him go, much to the dismay of the manager. The cop says maybe it really is a supernatural phenomenon, so the manager sarcastically makes a request.
I fancy a bottle of cherry brandy, vintage 1903.
And a bottle of brandy is what he pulls out, with a personal note written to him. Amazing. Our Santa Claus gives out many more presents to the children right there in the street. The kids bugger off, the sack is empty, and Henry sits to reflect on this incredible night. But there is one person who didn't get a present, himself.
You know, I can't think of anything I want. I guess what I really wanted is to be the biggest gift giver of all time.
Henry wishes that he could do this all the time, not just this one Christmas. He leaves the bag and walks away, back to the alley, and there he finds a sleigh with reindeer attached. An elf hops out to tell him they've been waiting a long time for him. Henry seems scared at first. I would be too at the idea of this being my entire life, but he soon realizes that he's happy about it. He takes flight, seen in the sky by the manager and the police officer. They're moved by what they see and decide to go home for some coffee and brandy. I think one of the reasons I enjoyed this episode so much is the pacing. There's just the right amount of story for the length. No meandering about, nothing stretched out, just great character development and dialogue, fun plot points, and a whole lot of heart. In a series with plenty of episodes that end on a dour note, or at least witnessing something horrific, this one just makes you smile. And though it is about a drunk man randomly becoming Santa, it never feels too silly or corny. It's just sweet. Another favorite of Season 2. Episode 12, Dust. We're now in 1961, the Twilight Zone's third year on air, nearing the halfway point of the season, starting to showcase some very strong episodes. And here we have another one, I think anyway. The Dust is a story about a small American town in the Old West being visited by a snake oil salesman. He's got magic cures for your ailments, magic items to help your luck. He stops by a prison to mock Mr. Gallego, a man set to be hanged for killing a child. Whether or not he's actually guilty, we don't know yet. The salesman comes in to laugh about the situation further, boasting about having sold the rope that's going to hang Mr. Gallego himself to the sheriff.
What would your pleasure be? Nice hacksaw, maybe?
They're going to be burying the little girl that you mangled under your wagon.
So Mr. Gallego did kill a little girl, but it was when he was driving drunk. Still horrible, but he's not some kind of sick murderer. The salesman's taunting continues as he gets drunk himself. He offers a bit to the sheriff, who's looking particularly distressed. He takes no pleasure in executions.
There's nothing in his sentence that says he's gotta be tormented by a pig who sells trinkets at funerals.
The salesman, named Sykes, sees that he's not welcome here and pisses off. He asks who the sheriff is going to weep for at the end of the day, and he answers that he has enough tears for both the family and Mr. Gallego. Sykes, desperate for attention, approval, something, hassles the mourning family, thinking that his cheerleading for the execution is somehow going to make the family feel better. He fails and retreats back to the sheriff's side. Sykes spots the Gallego family coming into town and acts appalled at their attendance. What an insult for them to be here. Sykes says the man should be beaten for showing such disrespect to the family, but the sheriff doesn't share the sentiment. The father expresses his grief and that he would give his own life in return.
If he could give
his own life in return.
I can return. He would.
Can't you see that we're burying our daughter today?
Gallego's father heads to the prison and pleads for his son's forgiveness, but Gallego tells them to go home. It's not safe for them here. The father tries to leave his lucky coin with the sheriff. It can be used to make a wish, and he begs the sheriff to empathize with his son and forgive him. He hadn't drunk so much ever before. His son was incredibly depressed and lost in his life, drinking. He didn't see the girl on the road. As the father leaves, Sykes sees an opportunity for a scam. He tells Gallego's little sister to go tell her father that his lucky coin is worthless, and what he really needs is the magic dust that he sells. A magic dust.
A magic dust that turns hate to love. Very, very precious. Very expensive.
Sykes comes across as just evil because he so easily slips into this very believable, nice, caring man persona. And as soon as the girl goes to tell her father about the magic dust, for sale for 100 pesos, Sykes puts some dust from the street in a little sack and laughs. The sheriff and Gallego talk a bit about life, about people, as the rest of the town starts showing up for the execution. It'll apparently be a great thing for the kids to see, so they know what happens if you drive drunk and kill a kid. But the sheriff takes issue with this mentality.
How do you teach them pain, Rogers? Shoot one of them in the arm?
An adorable boy approaches Gallego to ask if he's the one they're going to put a rope on and if it's going to hurt. And now it's time to get to marching. The town follows Gallego and the sheriff out to the open desert where they have the scaffolds built. Sykes' new rope wrapped around Gallego's neck. The crowd gathers anxiously, awaiting his death. But here's the father coming to buy the magic dust.
Sprinkled over the heads of the crowd will make them feel sympathy for your son. It's very rare.
He pays in gold. People in his community sold their possessions in order to get the money for this.
You sold the rope to hang my son. Now you sell me that which will save him?
Sykes makes no distinction between his customers. He only sells what people need. The father runs out and Sykes laughs hysterically. Father throws the magic dust into the air, proclaiming this is for love. The magic will turn their hate into love. But then we hear the sound of the floor dropping out. They executed Gallego. However, he's fine. The rope broke.
But it was a new rope. It couldn't have gotten broken.
It's the magic. You cannot try to defeat the magic.
The sheriff asks the family what they should do. Try again? But everyone has already been startled by the near murder. They decide to leave him be because something must have intervened.
No more today, John. No more.
There must be another hand in all of this for the rope to break like that. We leave it like this. One victim is enough.
The crowd disperses, the sheriff frees Gallego, and the father celebrates the power of magic.
Luis, it was magic dust.
Gallego walks off with his father, crying, but also maybe laughing a bit at how crazy everything is. And Sykes is still in utter shock that his rope snapped like that. He looks at the money he got for the dust and decides to give it to some of the children of the town. He's truly spooked by what happened.
It must be magic. That's what she is. Magic.
Kinda like Nick of Time, we have another story with a was it supernatural or not kind of ending. Sykes seems to think it was. How else could the rope have broken? But hey, who knows, right? It seems to have an effect on him as he gives the money away. Maybe he's on his way to becoming a better person. Pretty good episode here, not much more to say on it. Good performances too from everyone. Episode 13, Back There. We open with well-to-do men sitting around a table playing poker, and the first line of dialogue sets the stage for what's to come.
That if it were possible for a person to go back in time, there'd be nothing in the world to prevent it from altering the course of history?
The men debate the logistics of time travel. If you went back to the 1920s, you could use your knowledge of the stock market crash to cash out early. But our main character, Peter Corrigan, says, well, maybe my selling triggers the crash earlier. They debate back and forth. Can you actually change the past or not? Uh-oh, I feel another time stumble episode coming on. Corrigan says goodbye to his friends and makes his way to the exit of this hotel, mansion, I don't know what it is. William, the servant, accidentally spills a drink on Peter and panics. It's okay though, Peter isn't mad. Randomly, he asks for the date.
What is the date, William?
April 14th, sir.
April 14th, 1961, right?
I guess time is just on his mind. And then, yup, time stumble, just like Mr. Templeton. Peter just walks through a door and suddenly he's back in an old time. Peter finds himself in the 1800s, dressed accordingly, oil lanterns lighting the streets, horses and carriages, the whole shebang. Disoriented and confused, he makes his way home. But of course he has no home here, not in this time. But while he's here, he might as well try to get a room.
Army veteran?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. I'm an engineer.
Oh, really? A professional man.
A couple of guests come downstairs and say they're going to a play. The host tells them to applaud the president when they see him. This catches Peter's attention, and he finds out that President Abraham Lincoln is going to be at the play tonight. He pieces it together that tonight is the night of Lincoln's assassination. He's gotta do something. This is his chance to alter history and save the president. He tries getting into the stage door, but gets picked up by police for his disturbance. Hauled into the station, he warns of tonight.
While you idiots are sitting here, you're gonna lose a president.
That's what he's been yelling all the way over to the station.
President Lincoln will be shot tonight at the theater. A man named Booth.
No one believes him, of course. They're locking him up for the night.
But according to men around him, a man named John Wilkes Booth is going to assassinate him tonight.
As he gets incarcerated, a suspicious man comes in claiming he's a doctor, Mr. John Wellington.
I'll be fully responsible for him. I think perhaps I might be able to help him.
Peter is transferred to his custody immediately. Ah, the older, simpler times. But one of the officers thinks something is wrong here. This crazy man talking about assassination, maybe it should be taken seriously.
Perhaps we placed an extra guard in the box with the president.
The president has enough guards!
He watches as Peter steps out of the station with this mysterious doctor, who then serves a drink to Peter back at his home. He's very interested in Peter's story about Lincoln. Why does he have this idea in his head?
I just happen to know, that's all. You have a premonition?
Someone has to prevent it, but the doctor thinks he's drunk or insane. Peter feels faint, not from the head wound he suffered from security when trying to enter the stage. No, he feels drunk. He's been drugged.
You're a very sick man, and a sick man doesn't belong in jail. He belongs in a comfortable accommodation.
Lincoln will be shot tonight.
And that's odd, because I'm beginning to believe you.
Peter fights against the drug in his system, but can only manage a crawl, knocking things over, desperately looking for anything that could help him. Eventually, he succumbs. Shortly after, the officer from the station comes in to find him.
You've got me convinced. I've been everywhere from the mayor's office to the police commissioner's house trying to get a special guard for the president. You're telling me this as if it has already happened.
It has happened. It happened 100 years ago, and I'm here to see that it doesn't happen.
Peter wants to know about Wellington, but there's no Wellington here. Looking at the handkerchief in his hand, the initials read JWB, John Wilkes Booth.
He's the one who's going to do it. You've got to get to that theater. You've got to stop him, John Wilkes Booth. He's going to kill Lincoln.
But right then, people can be heard outside murmuring about how Lincoln's been shot. The president is dead. Shot by the very man Peter gave the idea to. I guess you really can't change the main events of the past.
I tried to warn you. Why didn't you listen?
He bangs on the window and magically transports back to his own time. He hasn't been gone for more than a moment, but something's different.
Where's William?
William, sir? There's no William on duty.
At the poker table, his friends welcome him back, but there's no more time travel conversation. Now it's all about ways to make money. You know, like rich people like to talk about.
William here has the best method.
William?
William tells the story of his great-grandfather going all around town trying to warn of Lincoln's assassination. All the attention he got from it changed the course of his life to lead to his family eventually becoming rich.
William, didn't you used to work here as an attendant? Didn't you spill coffee on me?
I was a member of this club while you were still going to prep school.
William is offended at the idea of being a servant, and Peter has to simply accept that reality is different.
Some things can be changed.
Peter pulls out the handkerchief with JWB on it, a souvenir of the past and a reminder of his incredible failure. He'll never be the same man. Yeah, that's a cool little story. Moves along nicely, in and out. Fun fact, this Rod Serling story comes from one he wrote back in 1941 called The Time Element, about a man who goes back to 1941 and tries to stop Pearl Harbor. Similarly, it ends with the attack still happening because no one believed him. Like most stories that are phenomenon-centric and not character-centric, I struggle to have a lot to say about it. It's a fun time loop story, playing with the idea of what you can change and what you can't. A little sloppy, I guess, but entertaining nonetheless. Good pacing. Seriously, there haven't been many episodes this season that drag on forever like the Mansion episode. This one flies by and you really can't complain when that's the case. As I was editing this, I noticed the Lincoln statue right there in the house when the story began. Before Corrigan time stumbles, he glances at it. So I'm wondering if that influenced the time he jumped to. Kinda interesting. Episode 14, The Whole Truth. Welcome to the world of used cars. We've got a big lot with a bunch of crap to choose from. A newly sold clunker drives off the lot, engine popping. Harvey Honeycutt makes his way over to his next mark, a naive young couple looking for a good deal within their budget, but a later model. Harvey says that's no good.
You know why they push the late models? They push the late models because that is where the profit margin is.
You guys don't want a new car, you want a well-crafted traditional vehicle, a 1938 coupe.
But this is what you want, a 38 coupe.
Meanwhile, an old man pulls up in a Model A looking to sell. And in the Twilight Zone, this car comes with some strings attached. Harvey keeps pushing the 38 coupe on the young couple, manipulating him with his swagger and fast talk. But he takes some time to check out what the old man's brought in too. It's not worth much, he'll offer $15 for it, which in 2020's money is, what, like $1 million? Harvey talks up the value of new cars, completely contradicting what he told the young couple, because he's trying to get the old man to accept a very low offer for his Model A. $25, sold. The old man enters the office and Harvey uses a cable to jerry-rig the back of the 38 coupe that he broke before the couple notices. Inside the office, the deal is finalized.
There is one other small item I ought to mention to you about the car.
Do.
It's haunted.
This haunted car, according to the soon-to-be former owner, has a curse on it that can only be broken by selling the car. Harvey has done the man a great favor. Pleased as can be, he exits and Harvey gets right back to work, sealing the deal with the young couple. For some reason, he blurts out that it's not for sale. He starts confessing about how bad the car is.
I guess I'm not pushing it anymore. This is a wreck.
He's been cursed with telling the truth. What else does he have for sale?
Haven't anything else worthwhile to show you. Everything in this lot should have been condemned years ago.
The curse compels him to suggest going somewhere else and not coming around here if they want a good deal. As he goes back to the office, one of his employees comes in and they talk business for a bit.
I want you to put a sign in the car that says it's for sale as is. No guarantees.
His worker can't believe what he's hearing. He's sabotaging the business. Harvey talks about the car's curse and his regret of buying it. Harvey has plans to stay out late, so he's got to phone his wife and make something up.
We're going to be playing poker with the boys. Honey, look, don't listen to me. This is nuts. I'm sick or something.
Oh no, he can't lie to his wife. How will his marriage ever survive? He realizes it's the car. The curse is real.
As long as I own that car, I have to tell the truth.
The next day, his employee brings in the new signs for the lot. This time they're actually honest. All he's selling is junk. Harvey's confronted about the promised raise for his employee, but his honesty makes him confess that he just dangles raises in front of his employees until they realize it's never coming. Well, that gets him knocked right in the face and his employee walks out. Later, Harvey spots someone in the lot, checking out the cursed Model A. This guy works in politics, up for re-election after 30 years of service. Harvey confesses that the car has a cracked block, the rubber tires are shot. What's the lowest amount that he'd take for this lemon? $50? 60? Harvey says 30. They settle on $22.50, the politician thinking Harvey's playing reverse psychology on him. He'll buy the car, but he wants to know what strings come attached.
You better trot out the strings, buddy boy. Trot out the strings. I want to know what I'm getting.
Well, the car is haunted, sorry. He gets a kick out of that.
Well, whoever owns it has to tell the truth. Then the only way he can stop telling the truth is to sell the car.
The politician wants information on another car and starts to believe in the curse as Harvey talks shit about that one too. He can't buy this car, it would ruin his career as a professional liar. Looking at the paper together, they have an idea of who they're going to sell the car to. We don't see who it is, but it sounds like a good gag to them. Whoever it is, they get them to come in, and Harvey deals with this special person's representative. They make the deal, $25, sign all the papers, and Harvey insists that the boss has to sign the papers, not his representative. The papers are handed over, signed by the boss, and the payment is complete. Harvey, now free from the curse, calls a reporter with some important international political news. He has something that's so big the president is going to want to know about it. This car was just sold to Nikita Khrushchev, secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, now unable to tell a lie. Got him. It's a cute story, moves at a decent pace, a little humor, nothing special really, but kind of a cute twist ending. A bit of a forgettable episode if I'm being honest, or maybe it's the best episode of the season and a bunch of people who saw it on TV in 1961 are about to start yelling at me for not understanding the brilliance of the Twilight Zone or something, like I think they're about to do when they hear my opinion of episode 15, The Invaders. I'm about to make everyone mad. I do not like The Invaders. Entertainment Weekly's number 5 pick of best Twilight Zone episodes ever. My mom loves this episode, a lot of people do, and I get it, but I just find this episode boring, and if you call the twist early, it gets worse. There's barely anything to say. There's a lady that lives out on her own in a cabin, and a tiny UFO lands on her house. A little alien gets out and starts shooting her with his ray gun. Okay, that's a scary idea. Great setup for what? Exactly, well, nothing. It's 20 minutes of her running around the house, screaming, hiding, panicking, trying to stop the invaders, until she finally does. She kills one of the creatures and puts it in the fireplace to burn. Another alien blows through the wall, shooting at her, but runs away, going back up to the ship. The lady starts smashing the ship with her hatchet, and the aliens send a distress call to their homeworld, warning not to come here.
Repeat, Gresham is dead. The ship's destroyed. Incredible race of giants here. Too powerful. Stay away.
Even before the halfway point, I was thinking, what's the twist here? Is it that the aliens are actually humans from Earth and this lady's a giant? Yep, that's what it is. Another episode that imagines worlds out there that contain life that looks exactly human and lives exactly like humans in the same kinds of houses. The alien ship has a US Air Force label on it. Oh my god, it's from Earth! Whenever I complain about an episode not holding up, I get so much shit. But I'm sorry, it's how I feel. I think the episode's pretty weak. It's a 5-minute idea at best, and certainly nowhere near the quality standard of other Richard Matheson stories. Yes, I know there's symbolism to this story. You can jump to this time-coded video for a little on this episode's deeper meaning. Trust me, I know. Alright, now that everyone's mad at me, let's move on to an episode that I really like. Episode 16, Penny for Your... Wait, what? This episode is called Penny for Your Thoughts, and not the one where the guy is spending pennies on the Mystic Seer machine? Alright, there better be a penny in it. Darren from Bewitched is walking to work and he stops to buy a paper on the way. He tosses a quarter into the box and it lands on its edge. Oh, come on, a quarter? Nick of Time is about pennies and Penny for Your Thoughts is about a quarter? Where's the quality control in the writer's room, guys? How did you not notice this? Putting that ridiculousness aside, our story is about Darren getting bestowed with psychic powers after landing the unlikely quarter flip. He can hear everyone's thoughts, anyone he bumps into in the street. He almost gets hit by a car and hears how the driver really feels.
If you were hurt, I could never forgive myself. You clumsy idiot. With your asinine jaywalking, you took 10 years off my life.
He doesn't quite realize what's happened as he walks into work at the bank, and we get to overhear some of the bank manager's conversation with his secret girlfriend.
Look, how about this weekend, huh? Just you and me, huh?
Darren comes in while his boss is still on the phone, interrupting his secret plans. Darren hears everything the boss thinks and becomes startled, but quickly intrigued and ready to test it out. He leans into the security guard and hears him thinking about the baseball game. He checks in with the client to make sure he's happy with his service. Hilariously, he goes up to a woman in love with her money and doesn't hear a single thing. But he does hear the thoughts of the secretary, taking pity on him.
Poor Mr. Poole. He looks tired and pale.
Now Darren is going to sit with Mr. Sykes for his big $200,000 loan for a business expansion, but his powers allow him to hear that his real plan for the money is to gamble it on horse racing, and use the winnings to keep his dying business open. Well, the loan can't be authorized for gambling purposes. He tells his boss about the plan, and Darren is in trouble for insulting such an important client. He gets more pity from the secretary, and he compliments her for her kind thoughts, which she doesn't understand, of course. A co-worker comes in to tease Darren about hitting on Miss Helen Turner.
Miss Turner is the prettiest girl in the accounts section, which is saying absolutely nothing.
When he hears him thinking about how wild she must be in bed, Darren pours his drink on the man's head. Helen approves.
Good for you. He certainly had it coming.
So what's Darren gonna do with his new power? Well, he uses it to listen in on the old man to his left, Mr. Smithers. Working here for 20 years, resenting the bank for never promoting him, he's thinking about his plan to rob the bank today.
I'll fill my briefcase with currency and be on ship to Bermuda by nightfall.
Now Darren's in a dilemma. Should he tell security about it? He sees the gun on his belt. He doesn't want the old man to be shot. No, let's tell Helen, but they need to speak privately. He confesses his new power. He can read minds. He doesn't do much to prove it, but he says that he knows about a plot to rob the bank. Helen says he has to report it. He has a responsibility to the bank and stockholders. Darren heads to the boss's office to tell his secret right after getting scolded for losing that $200,000 account.
Mr. Smithers is planning to rob the bank. At exactly 4:30, he's going to go to the vault, fill his briefcase. Then he's taking a boat trip to Bermuda.
Who's the man who ends up stealing the company funds? Isn't it always the most trusted employee?
The boss buys into Darren's suspicions, and now it's time for Mr. Smithers' plan. He enters the vault, and security is set up to check him as he comes out. Stop right there, old man. Show us the briefcase. Well, turns out nothing is in there but his normal stuff, and Darren is in big trouble.
Please forgive us all, Mr. Smithers. I should have known immediately that what I was told was impossible on the face of it.
Darren is fired on the spot and apologizes to his co-worker.
How did you know? How did you know, Mr. Poole?
Smithers says he would never actually go through with it. He's old and set in his ways. He supposes you could call him a coward. As Smithers leaves, Miss Turner approaches Darren to offer some comfort, while also thinking to herself that he must be delusional if he thinks he can hear people's thoughts. The boss comes out and confirms that Mr. Sykes was just arrested for gambling with company money. The boss offers Darren his job back, and Mrs. Turner broadcasts her thoughts to him, that he deserves to be accounts manager.
And that would mean he'd move into Mr. Jones's old office.
I'd move into Mr. Jones's old office.
The boss thinks about it, but he's really just thinking about how excited he is to see his mistress. Darren brings him into the office and tells him he knows about the affair.
The business of Felicia and your wife. Yes, I know all about it, Mr. Bagby.
He's got him by the balls. He gets the job and the office. Darren has one more demand, a bank-paid round-trip ticket to Bermuda for Mr. Smithers. The boss doesn't have any way to refuse. He gets what he wants. He actually gets everything he wants, as Mrs. Turner has waited for him.
Shall we leave, Miss Turner?
I'd go anywhere with you. What do you think I waited for?
Our lovely couple makes their way out, and Darren grabs another paper, knocking his quarter over with a new one. The curse is broken. He can't hear Helen's thoughts anymore. He goes up to strangers in the street and nothing. But Helen assures him that surely he can still hear what she's thinking as she smiles at him lovingly. A sweet ending to a pretty cute and fun story. Dick York is incredibly charismatic, and it was nice to see him not use his powers for entirely selfish goals. He doesn't go around doing evil shit. And in the end, he gets what he knows he truly deserves. This temporary power changed his life and several other lives for the better, and now he's got a woman at his side. Leaves you feeling good in the end. I like it. Written by George Clayton Johnson, writer of one of my favorite Season 1 episodes, Execution. Episode 17, 22. We open with a woman in a hospital bed, Liz Powell, a famous dancer. She's staying here because of being overworked and having panic attacks. Tonight she awakens in the middle of the night to a loud sound of a ticking clock. She reaches for the water glass, but it falls and shatters. She's terrified of something but doesn't know what. She slowly walks out of her hospital room and goes into the hall where a shadowy figure is seen taking the elevator. Liz goes to the elevator as if it were calling to her. It stops at the basement level and comes back up for her. Down to the basement she goes. Once there, she explores the halls, shivering from the cold, her sleeves exposed, until she comes across room 22, the morgue. The doors swing open, and a nurse terrifies her with an invitation.
Room for one more, honey.
Come morning time, Liz's agent stops by to check up on her. He's got a new fancy photo of her for the club she's going to be dancing at soon. Liz has been in the hospital for weeks. She's been miserable and lonely. She feels abandoned, like everyone thinks she's crazy. They think she's crazy because she says these dreams are real. She knows they're real.
Bonnie, don't. Don't write me off, will you?
The doctor comes in and he's creepy as fuck.
You make an old doctor wish he were a young intern. We're a little feisty today, aren't we?
She's sick of constantly being checked by doctors. The doctor says he wants to run through her dream again. She wakes up, she's thirsty, reaches for the glass and it breaks. She follows the footsteps outside, heads down to the elevator.
Down at the end of the hall, there's a room. Room 22.
The nurse comes out of the morgue, looks straight at her and says, "Room for one more, honey."
You bring her in here. I'll point her out. Boy, will I point her out.
She insists the woman she sees in her dream is the nurse, but the night nurse that works the basement level is a different looking woman. The dream can't be real. It's just a dream.
You'll have to admit it's very unlikely that the woman you saw could have come out of the morgue.
The doctor says tonight, when she has the dream, do not reach for the glass. Change the dream.
Let's see what this evening brings.
She's becoming quite upset. She wants Barney to get out and the doctor to leave her alone. He reminds her to not repeat the nightmare's events. She's on her way to recovery. A little past midnight, Liz awakens to the sound of the same ticking clock. The glass of water is there, calling to her. She's so thirsty. She reaches for it, but stops herself. She did it! She's in control! She lights up a cigarette instead and tries to relax. But she drops the lighter, and when she tries to pick it up, there goes the glass. Shatter. The footsteps begin to sound outside in the hall, and the dream starts to play out as it always does. Down in the basement level, she slowly makes her way to the morgue, feeling the chill of the cool air. Room 22 again. The doors swing open, and the nurse again says, "Room for one more, honey." The doctors rush in to comfort her, trying to ease her back into a peaceful sleep, and the doctor starts to piece together details of the dream. He realizes that she mentions the morgue in the basement of her dream, but she's never been down there. She mentions room 22, how would she know the number? Well, Liz makes it through her treatment period, apparently well again. Time to get back out into the world.
They were dreams. Just a part of your fatigue. You were susceptible to nerves. The next time I see you, I'll be at a ringside table, and I'd appreciate a subtle wink.
God, what a creep. Imagine being an exotic dancer, seeing a doctor, and that doctor saying he'll come see you dance soon. Ew. Liz is at the airport now, ready to fly to her new life in Miami.
Flight 22 is loading now, and you can get aboard anytime.
Flight 22. Well, that's odd. Quite the spooky coincidence. She starts hearing the ticking clock. She feels thirsty like she did in the dream.
I'm awake. This isn't a dream.
She carelessly bumps into a passing woman, causing her to drop a vase which shatters on the ground. She hears footsteps, the footsteps of the walking passengers. Hesitantly, she makes her way to the plane, outside to the runway, up the flight of stairs, nervous with every step, and there she is at the top, the nurse from her dreams.
Room for one more, honey.
Liz panics and runs away screaming. The plane seals up and gets ready for takeoff, while Liz is back inside the airport being comforted by the staff. She stares out the window at Flight 22, swearing this couldn't be a dream, when... a tragic ending to a spooky story. Makes me think of Final Destination. I wonder if the writer of that was inspired by this episode. I think this is definitely in the higher end of Season 2. The payoff for all the dream stuff is great, and it's one of the only episodes that kinda gets under your skin with how dark and mysterious it is. Written by Rod Serling. Good job, man. And I want to point out this pretty cool effect behind the door to the morgue. I assume it's a painting. It makes it look like the morgue extends into infinity. A nice detail for a dream sequence. They could have just used a regular room, but they went the extra distance and made this effect. Episode 18, The Odyssey of Flight 33. Another episode with an airplane in it, and this time the entire story takes place in it. Actually, just the cockpit. This episode is nothing more than the people flying the plane. Flight 33 is crossing the ocean from London to New York. We spend a few minutes with the mundane, reading out all the conditions, weather is good, they're on time, until the captain feels something, like a speed boost. Turns out they are actually accelerating, and accelerating fast. Too fast to even keep up with, and there's no one on the radio to help.
Oh, I hope the wings stay on.
The main stewardess warns that something is wrong, but to keep strong so the passengers stay cool. We spend a little time with an old lady blabbing about some crap to a military officer until he starts to notice the speed increase too. We never come back to these characters, so to me it feels kinda unnecessary. Bam! Flashes of lightning or something. Someone goes to check it out.
What was that shaking? Turbulence?
I doubt it. It was more like a sound shock wave.
You mean we hit Mach 1? We broke the sound barrier?
I don't know what it is. I just don't know.
I don't know, Neil. I wish I did. I just don't know.
They don't know what's going on or where they are, so the captain says he's gonna lower their altitude to get a view of the area.
Skipper, you can't do that. If we leave this altitude, we'll run smack dab in the middle of 20 other flights.
He assures the passengers everything is fine, just some turbulence, no damage except for issues with the radio. Fuel is good and acceleration seems to have stopped, so it's time to see the land below.
It's very possible that we might hit something on the way down, but it's a chance we've got to take.
Everyone is on alert, ready to react to what they may run into. They start the descension, and as the clouds clear, they can't believe what they're seeing. It's Manhattan Island. That's where New York City is, for those who don't know, but there is no city, no civilization at all. There's certain of the geography, but no New York. Out the right side window, they see the unbelievable, an adorable tiny claymation dinosaur munching on miniature plastic trees. Oh my god! Okay, it's not exactly fair to laugh at the effects here. What else were they supposed to do in 1961? It's fine. So they're back in the age of the dinosaurs, thousands of years ago. They can't land here, they're running out of fuel and they need to do something fast. The pilot suggests heading back up into the clouds, accelerating as much as possible and just hoping they go back through whatever took them here. Speed picks up, dramatic music and dramatic close-ups ensue, and bam, another flash and boom. They did it.
We made it! Look, we're back!
The captain assures the passengers and crew that everything's fine. They're gonna land soon. The communications guy makes contact with air traffic control, but there's something wrong. They're confused by his requests.
You request what?
Radar vector to Idlewild ILS. LaGuardia, this is Global Airlines Flight 33. Now stop fooling around, we're short on fuel.
They don't know the flight number. They don't even understand what a jet aircraft is or what a radar is. Something's wrong. Air traffic control guides them down and says the captain needs to report to the CAA immediately upon landing.
CAA? They haven't called the Federal Aviation Agency CAA in years.
The plane lowers its altitude, ready to approach for landing, and then they notice what's outside. They recognize the New York World's Fair down on the ground, which took place in 1939.
We came back. Dear God, not far enough.
The captain won't land here and says they gotta try again, but the passengers and crew have to be notified of the situation.
What I'm about to tell you is something I can't explain myself. Your crew is as much in the dark as you are.
The people look down on the World's Fair and learn the horrible truth.
In some manner, this aircraft has gone back into time. We're going to try to increase our speed and go back through the same sound barrier we've already done twice before. All I ask of you is that you remain calm and pray.
And that's how the episode ends. They're gonna try again, and who knows where they'll end up. Maybe they'll run out of fuel and crash. It's a mystery. I actually like this episode a lot. I was worried I might not on a repeat viewing, but I do. Yeah, it's just a bunch of guys talking in the cockpit, but the tension is great. The captain's acting is pretty captivating too. He's played by John Anderson, who acted in over 500 TV shows, including MASH, Dallas, even Star Trek The Next Generation. I'd like to read this excerpt from Wikipedia about the cockpit dialogue. Serling's brother, aviation writer Robert J. Serling, helped Serling with the cockpit dialogue for the show by discussing the show's premise with a Transworld Airlines captain. After the show aired, several pilots later wrote to say that they thought the cockpit dialogue was among the most authentic ever in a television show. And that's really what makes it work, the authenticity of it. No need for multiple sets or other characters, we're just in the one room with the people dealing with a strange phenomenon. And with good direction and acting, it's all we need. I'd be curious what other Twilight Zone fans think of this episode, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was an inspiration for Sliders. A commenter on one of my Twilight Zone videos recently brought up that the phenomenon in this episode is very similar to that of The Last Flight, where the pilot passed through a white cloud that takes you to another time. Are they connected? Kind of fun to imagine they are. Episode 19, Mr. Dingle the Strong. Hey, look who's back! It's Burgess Meredith, star of the episode Time Enough at Last, commonly considered the best, or at least one of the best episodes of the entire series. Here he plays Mr. Dingle, a man with no confidence, no strength, a small man in a big world. In this restaurant bar where he's doing his daily puzzle, two men are arguing about sports betting. The main annoyance here is played by comedy legend Don Rickles, a hilarious guy that I know best for his role in Dirty Work as the asshole movie theater manager.
So there you are, Tubby. You look like a bucket of lard on a bad day. Your life is over. I'll see to it that you never work again and that you wind up tearing tickets off in Kuwait.
Rickles and Stash over here go back and forth about the game and the supposedly bad call the ref made.
So who's to say there wouldn't have been a man on base? And furthermore, Callahan, you're nothing but a cheating insult to the American bookie.
Rickles wants Dingle to weigh in on the debate. He watched the game, right? What did he see? How would he make the call?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did watch the game on television. Exceptional defensive play, exceptional.
Rickles has no patience for Dingle's mumbling. Was it a foul or not? Dingle sides with Stash on the matter and gets himself rocked in the face by Rickles, right over the bar. The arguing continues, both men hassling Dingle over this stupid disagreement, and oh my god, what? Oh man, you can't do that. You can't just wheel in a giant Siamese alien with blinking lights and antennas on their heads out of nowhere. It's one of the most hilarious unintentional laugh moments I've ever seen in anything. When I was watching this season for the first time, I was telling a girl I was dating about it, but she had never seen the show. She's more of a Sex and the City type than sci-fi. We were gonna make dinner one night, and I said I wanted to get through one more episode of the Twilight Zone first, because I had already started it. Would you like to watch it with me? She was happy to give it a chance, and it just happened to be this episode. These aliens wheel in at the 4.5 minute mark out of nowhere, and we both started laughing so hard. I apologized. I said, hey, don't judge the show by this, please. Every episode is a different story. Could be aliens, time travel, magic, dreams. You just happened to catch the most insane moment of the season. Anyway, this absolute monstrosity is supposed to be a pair of Martians, and they are invisible. Oh god, how do the actors keep a straight face with this thing in the room? The arguing continues, and the Martians are studying the situation. They decide that Dingle is the perfect specimen for their experiment.
I think we have found our subject. You intend to give him the additional strength?
After Dingle gets beat up a little more, the Martians zap him with energy that gives him a strange feeling.
I feel funny. Funny? Yeah.
Dingle is a vacuum cleaner salesman, and when he goes to pick up the vacuum, he's amazed at how light it feels. How strange. He goes to open the door and rips it right off the hinges.
Now why all of a sudden do you gotta wreck my front door? Mr. O'Toole, I'm mystified. I'm absolutely mystified.
He's as strong as Superman, would you believe it? Dingle walks home from the bar down... is that Maple Street?
Whoever was in the thing that came over. I don't think they want us to leave here.
Aha, it is! This is Maple Street from the famous Season 1 episode The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. Damn, I'm good. So this little asshole kid comes up to Dingle and says he's gonna kick his ass.
Didn't my old man say he was gonna punch you in the nose if you came around here bothering us again?
Dingle tries to leave and gets his hat knocked off by the kid's football. He tells the kid to go long and throws the ball an unbelievable distance. He and the children are amazed by his strength, and then Dingle accidentally pulls the handle off a cab as he tries to get in. Then he ends up tilting the cab on its side. Now a creature of amazing strength, he goes to the park to, I guess, ponder what to do with it.
Do I appear abnormal in any way?
He speaks of his failures as a vacuum salesman, glad to not have to do it anymore, and shows off to this woman by lifting the bench with her on it. I love the practical effects here and smart editing. I mean, look at this, he lifts the statue straight up with one hand. How did they do this? Watch this awesome effect of him smashing his alarm clock in the morning, and then he tears a phone book in half. The effects crew was really flexing their skills here, so good. Dingle is now a local sensation, and even a national one. Carnivals, TV shows, fighting organizations, everyone wants that Dingle. But it all stops once the host of a popular show comes in, filming an episode of their show on things you wouldn't believe. He starts with something simple, a punch through the wall. Then he breaks a table. Impressive, sure, but nothing extraordinary. How about pulling a mounted seat out of the ground with a single finger? That gets a good reaction. Rickles is in the audience, now scared of Dingle's new power, and he wants to make nice. Dingle smashes his cigarette in his face, picks him up and spins him around while randomly turning into a completely different actor for a couple seconds for the stunt, and he drops Rickles on his ass. We cut to the invisible Martians, watching all of this, and they've had enough. This human only abused his power for self-enrichment.
We give him the strength of 300 men, and he uses it for petty exhibition.
They're gonna leave this planet and move on to others. The humans are a failed project. But first, they're gonna take away Dingle's strength right when he promises to lift the entire building for the audience. His strength disappears, and he then fails to lift the seat. He can't break the table. He can't break the wall. Everyone just laughs at him, and he's back to being the joke of the place. Rickles swoops in, ready to immediately start bullying him like before. The bartender stops him, and the crowd vacates.
So long, Hercules. I'll bring that thing out of here.
What do you mean? You saw him do it. You recorded him. And just because he lost it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Oh well, I guess it's an okay episode. I like the... Oh my god, what the fuck? What the fuck? There is no one who actually thought this was a good idea. In no situation, in no year, does this look even remotely acceptable as an alien costume in a TV show. Look at them, their little penciled on mustaches. Oh my god, I love it so much. Well, they're here to experiment on him with super intelligence.
Give him the intelligence quota, Ray. How strong? C. Perhaps 500 times more intelligent than the average human.
You get it. He becomes super smart for a while, says smart stuff to the bar guys, predicts a home run. He's a genius for a day or whatever. End of episode. Yeah, it's an alright one. Actually, I'd say I do quite like it. It's a fun premise, Burgess Meredith is great, the practical effects are very impressive, but god, those aliens. Those fucking aliens, man. They bring it down a notch. Episode 20, Static. This episode takes place in a boarding house where several old people are living out their golden years. And why does the image look so shitty? You see it, right? Compare the last episode to this one. What's going on? Turns out CBS was concerned about how much money they were spending per episode, recording to film, and at some point during the filming of Season 2, they mandated that the next 6 episodes be recorded to tape, leading to this dog water image we see right here. They eventually determined the drop in quality wasn't worth the savings and reverted the decision. We've actually already seen several of these videotaped episodes, Night of the Meek, The Whole Truth, The Lateness of the Hour. I just hadn't noticed the quality difference. Maybe because it simply isn't as noticeable, or maybe because I'm watching these episodes at a fairly low quality, so it all blends together. But this one in particular, oof. Okay, back to the show. Our main character is Mr. Ed Lindsay, playing checkers with another housemate as the ladies knit on the couch. They're all watching an old western on the tube and becoming mesmerized by the cigarette commercial. Lindsay is like, why are you all watching this crap? He switches the channels, showing them more entertainment, more product, more modern slop for the masses. He can't take it anymore. He heads down to the basement and rescues his old radio. An antique, huge, dusty, and now being hauled up to his room.
I thought you'd thrown it out years ago.
I never throw anything away that's worth keeping.
He hooks it up and some terrible modern dance music comes out, which the kid in the building loves. Get out of here, kid, you listen to trash. Once he's alone, he twiddles with the dials until he finds something to his tastes. Some slow, relaxing, kinda jazzy orchestral music. That's the good stuff.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, with the strains of Getting Sentimental Over You, Tommy Dorsey and his orchestra bid you all a very pleasant good night.
Mr. Lindsay has tuned into some classic-style programming from back in his day, but it turns to static when Miss Braun comes to his door. She's here to remind him that dinner is ready, and he's a complete dick to her about being interrupted.
Ever since I can remember, women have been running my life.
At the dinner table, Lindsay is humming one of the old radio tunes to himself.
It's called I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. I heard it on the radio this afternoon. Playing it direct from the...
Direct? Tommy Dorsey's dead.
One of the residents says he couldn't have heard it directly from the musical performer Tommy Dorsey because Tommy Dorsey is dead, and so is Major Bowes.
I heard both Major Bowes and Tommy Dorsey this afternoon on the radio.
Couldn't be.
Lindsay reminisces about the past. Everything used to be so good back then. What do the younger people know about art, culture, music? They just want to watch TV. Lindsay goes for the radio in the kitchen, and we learn a little detail about him and Ms. Braun.
Miss Brown, you can thank your lucky stars you never married that man.
Lindsay tries to find the station he heard upstairs, but he gets nothing. He invites his buddy and Ms. Braun up to hear it on his radio, but it's still just static. They have the idea to call the station and see if they're having issues.
Would you please give me the number of WPDA? Heard Major Bose. Remember Major Bose? Oh.
They inform him that the station has been off the air for years. Lindsay swears he heard it. Ms. Braun wants to believe him. Is it so impossible?
We take things for granted today that we called impossible just a few years ago.
Lindsay stays with the radio for a while, and the others express their concern to each other. The radio, now in isolation with Lindsay, broadcasts a live address from President FDR, who was president in the 1930s. Now that he's got a solid signal, he summons everyone upstairs, but of course it turns into static again.
It was Tommy Dorsey. He was playing I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. It was soft and slow, real pretty.
Lindsay says he's sure everyone thinks he's gone mad. Ms. Braun says she doesn't, but she needs to hear something.
You're just about the meanest, sourest, most cantankerous old man on the face of the earth. And I'm not much better.
Lindsay and Ms. Braun have lived in this building for 20 years, staring at each other, never dealing with what went wrong between them.
We were going to be married.
Oh, no, Jenny, for heaven's sake.
Don't get your back up. I'm not trying to change anything.
She recalls how they met, the day he proposed to her, and how they waited to marry because his mother was ill. She's needed to say this for a long time, but she knows there's nothing between them anymore. She's sure of the love he felt for her. He's sure of it too. She thinks what's happening is because of how much he misses what they had together, what he was back then. It's that time of year around when it would have been their anniversary. He always gets sad around then.
Why do you think you keep hearing Getting Sentimental Over You on the radio, on those programs? We used to listen to them together.
She understands how he feels, but he has to let it go. And just when it looked like Lindsay was coming to his senses, he gets defensive and insists that the radio broadcasts are real.
Get out of here, Vinny. Get out of here.
It's a really sad turn for the character. For a moment, it looks like we were headed towards acceptance and maybe even a reuniting of souls. Instead, he chooses his dream. An old radio play comes on, like when he was a young man, and he throws some pillows down on the floor to listen and laugh. The next day, presumably, Lindsay comes into the home as cheery as can be, and he's fully bought into the delusion. He doesn't even recognize the television, or the picture tube as he calls it.
Kept wondering, whatever happened to the picture tube? And then I remembered. Here. Radio. I tell you, radio is a world that has to be believed to be seen.
He disappears into his room for more radio time, but the radio is gone. Who took it? Well, his friends gave it to the junk dealer for his own good. That means Lindsay's got to go down to the junk dealer to recover it. $10 gets it back from the dealer, and just like that, he's back in his room, listening to Tommy Dorsey. The song I'm Getting Sentimental Over You is on the radio, and he calls to Miss Braun to come listen. She immediately comes to the floor, smiling greatly, looking fantastic.
It's on this time every Thursday. What is the matter with you?
Lindsay looks 30 years younger, and he's so incredibly happy to see her. They embrace, finally together as they always should have been. Together back then, together now. It's another excellent ambiguous ending that leaves us wondering what truly happened. Episode written by the talented Charles Beaumont, who we recently saw in the credits of The Howling and Penny for Your Thoughts. If you're inclined to accept every supernatural phenomenon in this show, you may think that giving in to the magic radio allowed him to go back in time and start again. I mean, why not? This show is full of people randomly going back in time just for opening a door. However, I assume most people don't hold that interpretation. It seems much more to the episode's theme that Lindsay has suffered a full mental break. He's likely institutionalized at this point, either catatonic or so deluded you can't even talk to him. I really like the happy endings of the Twilight Zone when a character learns and grows, but I also love a disturbing, bleak ending here and there, and this one is near the top for me. I really like this episode. It may be in my top 10, and it's definitely one of my favorite endings. Episode 21, The Prime Mover. Another episode in a diner. They like that kind of location. This guy Ace owns the diner with his fiancée, and he's talking sweet to her.
And I've been real good to you, haven't I? I fed you, I took care of you, gave you everything you wanted, right?
Oh wait, he's talking to a slot machine. We've got a man with a gambling problem. One of my favorite season 1 episodes is The Fever, about gambling addiction, so hopefully this one's just as good. Ace changes his dollar for quarters and bets the postman heads or tails and loses. The postman uses that quarter on the slot machine and wins.
Hey! Here's your quarter. Thanks.
Ace and Kitty aren't doing well financially, and his gambling certainly isn't helping. He tells his waiter Jimbo that he and Kitty can't get married yet, not till things are stable. Then, right at this moment, a car speeding down the road flips and crashes. Great execution here, it looks crazy. Ace and Jimbo run over to help whoever's inside. The scene is desperate, they've got to flip the car. Jimbo looks conflicted, like he can't decide what to do, until he reveals his secret. He has the power to move objects with his mind. He lifts the car and frees the passenger. Back in Jimbo's apartment, Ace wants to know how he did it.
I guess you might say it's a power I got. I don't know how come or why or anything, but I can. I thought everybody could do it, like breathing. I guess I was wrong.
Jimbo said he stopped using this power a while ago because it got him in trouble, and it gives him real bad headaches like now. Ace insists on seeing another display of the power though, and Jimbo gives in to him. He levitates the bed.
Could you make something move that's a little smaller, like a quarter maybe? Sure, the smaller, the easier.
Ace thinks Jimbo is the biggest dumbass in the world. How could you not have used your power to rig games? The trio heads to Vegas to put Jimbo's powers to the test, and Ace goes big.
All right, $100 on number 8.
100, Ace, that's all we've got.
Take it easy, Kitty.
4, black, and even.
He doubles it again. Another winner. They bounce from casino to casino, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Kitty has no idea what's going on. How is he winning every single game he plays? She wants him to stop. Luck's bound to run out, but he knows he's good to continue. Jimbo's got a bad headache, so it's time to call it a night. Cashing out his winnings, Ace gives a big tip to the hot cigarette girl, which Kitty sees. They rent the nicest suite in the building, living the life of luxury as newly rich people. For some reason, Ace won't let Jimbo sleep. Instead, he's giving him a head massage. Jesus Christ, let the man sleep! Jimbo says he doesn't want to do this anymore, it's cheating. So Ace says fine, he's gonna quit.
Ace, you promise?
Sure, kid, sure. After just one more time. You take it easy and rest tonight, and tomorrow we'll fracture him.
Ace wants to go out partying tonight, and Kitty doesn't want to go. She wants it all to stop, but he's out of control.
Ace, you're sick.
Honey, I've never been healthier in my life.
He lets her go, but Jimbo says he's got to go after her because she means so much to him. They go downstairs together, and she's out the door. It must not have been such a shame to have her leave, because in no more than 10 seconds, Ace's attention shifts to the cigarette girl. He gives a bunch of money to her boss to rent her personally, and she's happy to go. Now Ace is on the hunt for the big dogs.
Who's the biggest gambler in town? Well, you tell Phil Nolan that Ace wants to see him.
The next morning, he gets the call from a very rich man who sits only at the high roller tables, a gangster. But Ace isn't worried in the slightest for their safety.
What about Kitty? I can't hear you, Jimbo. I can't hear you at all.
When the gangsters show up, they want to see the money first. 2 boxes of cash sit on the table. It's a scary bunch, and they're ready to play. They start by putting down $10,000, and the gangster is understandably suspicious.
Suppose we play with my dice, huh? Happy? That's your roll. And a 7 it is.
Ace wins again and again and again, which is just too fishy. It's obvious he's cheating, but he can't prove it. The door opens and Cigarette Girl comes in to sit by Ace's side, which upsets Jimbo. He's being a real sleazebag, and now he's here cheating on Kitty. Ace goes for the big bet, all the cash, which is, I don't know, $1 million or more. Jimbo tries to interrupt Ace several times before he throws, but he's ignored. Ace just tosses the dice, the number comes up wrong, and he loses everything.
Sorry, but I was trying to tell you, something happened. I lost the power. You're not mad at me, are you, Ace? I couldn't help it.
Cigarette Girl is out. Ace laughs hysterically at the whole thing, believing Jimbo when he says he blew his fuse. Later, we're all back at the diner, and he's gotta make things right with Kitty. He promises he'll get money together for them with hard work, and he asks her to marry him, right as Jimbo drops the broom to the floor. Since Ace is a betting man, Kitty asks for a quarter and flips it.
Call it.
Heads?
All right, Mr. Larson, I will marry you.
While they're hugging, Jimbo sneakily raises the broom with his power. He's still got it. Pretty solid episode, written by Charles Beaumont. It's nothing spectacular, but a good character story. There's some excitement, fun powers put to use. Honestly, if a story has good pacing, I tend to enjoy it. And this one just flies by, because it's a lot of fun, and it's led by great performances. Episode 22, Long Distance Call. Oh, we're kind of getting close to the end. 29 episodes in total, and after talking about 20, I do start to get tired. So maybe we can breeze through this one, just this one. Shitty videotape quality, old lady lives with her son's family, little Billy loves his grandmother, it's Billy's birthday today, happy birthday Billy. Billy makes a secret wish to his grandma, she takes a moment to bring down the mood and talk about how she's gonna die.
Why are you crying, Grandma?
Maybe because I won't be here with you for very long.
Billy opens his presents and Grandma gave him a telephone.
So you can always talk to Grandma, even when she's not here. Anytime.
They do a pretend call and the parents think it's cute. Grandma suddenly gets weak and they gotta take her upstairs. Doctor comes over and she's not doing well. Grandma starts saying mean things as she's close to death.
I'm your son, Chris.
My son was taken away from me by a woman. This is my son now, Billy.
Damn, she's horrible to leave her son with that comment. She tells Billy she wishes she could take him far away with her, and then she dies. The next day, Mom is upset about what Grandma said to her husband, as she should be. She overhears Billy talking in his room on the phone with his grandma.
She wanted to know if I can come stay with her. Can I, Mama?
Done! At night, the parents come back from a date and the babysitter is scared. She's waiting for them with the neighbor. He swears Billy was out in the street, or ran right out in front of his car without a care.
He said somebody told him to. Somebody told him to.
He just sat up in his room all day long just talking on that toy telephone. Honest.
Mom believes in the impossible now. She thinks Grandma is actually on the phone somehow, speaking from another world to take Billy with her. He's lying now about who he's talking to, saying it's nobody. Dad tells Billy not to use the phone in front of Mom because it upsets her. Mom's brushing her hair and Dad's having a smoke before bed. They talk about Grandma a bit now that the funeral's passed.
She had 2 children before me. She lost them both. She just couldn't let go.
Billy was how his mother could go back to having children like she used to, and she liked feeling loved and useful. Mom wakes up in the middle of the night and finds Billy on the phone again. She grabs it and actually hears Grandma on the other end. At least she says she does, we don't hear it. Billy runs out of the room, downstairs, and jumps into the pool, drowning. Billy's on a respirator now with professionals in the living room, and Mom is blaming Grandma for taking him away. I gotta say, I think Billy was only in the water for maybe 20 seconds. He should be fine, but whatever. So Billy becomes a vegetable. Mom cries. Upstairs, Dad sees the phone on the ground and tries to talk to his mother.
If you can hear me, listen. You said you loved Billy. If you really love Billy, give him back.
His emotional plea apparently gets through to her, and Billy starts to recover, much to the surprise of the paramedics. And that's it. That's the episode. Alright, just because I ran through it quickly doesn't mean I think it's bad. I'm just done writing reviews for today. Long Distance Call is a well-told story about grief, and I'm sure it deeply resonates for viewers that have dealt with loss in their family. I like that they never confirmed to the audience whether or not Grandma was actually there, but it is quite weird that Billy just goes and drowns himself, so I'm leaning towards the it was real side. Charles Beaumont wrote this one too, actually, and William Idelson, writer of several episodes of The Dick Van Dyke Show. Episode 23, 100 Yards Over the Rim. Okay, I got a little burned out earlier. I have some new energy. I took a month off from this project to cover the new Silent Hill movie and the new Resident Evil. I started a new exercise routine. I'm back and feeling fresh. And would you believe it? We're jumping right into another Time Stumble episode, this time into the future for a change. A pack of American settlers in the 1800s are making the long journey from Ohio to California to make a new life for themselves. Currently passing through New Mexico, things are looking desperate. Christian Horn and his family are leading the way, and they stop for a bit to talk about their situation. Christian's boy is sick with a fever. The families gather round to say they think it's time to turn back, but Christian knows that'll be certain death.
If you try to go the 1,500 miles back to St. Louis, I'll guarantee you'll leave your bones bleached on some desert.
What about water, Chris? We're almost out of water.
I don't know, but I'll find water.
And yes, that is Gomez from the Addams Family. Christian says he'll find water, somehow. He sets out to check out over the rim ahead. A short trek later, he comes across a paved road and electricity poles. Amazed by finding whatever this is, he turns back to yell to his party, but they're gone. He is understandably puzzled by what he sees, slowly and cautiously walking to the road, musket in hand. What is this material on the ground? What are these giant metal structures? What the hell is this giant growling metal beast coming my way? In this kind of situation, would you assume that you'd gone mad? Would you believe your own eyes? I don't know what I would do. A walk down the road leads him to Joe's cafe and gas station. Joe's there to greet him, and Christian wants to know if Joe saw the monster that almost ran him over.
You mean the truck? The truck? How long have you been out there in the desert? Almost a year. That is, almost a year since we left Ohio.
He talks about one of their wagons being burned by the Indians, some families turning back. Joe welcomes him into the cafe so his wife can look at his arm, injured by his musket when it went off during the fall. Just the serving of a simple glass of water is bizarre to Christian. Joe reaches for Christian's musket to have a look at a real antique, but Christian guards it, knowing he needs the protection against the Indians. Christian finally asks how long have they been here. He gets his answer. They've been here a couple years after they came over from Phoenix, a place Christian doesn't know. He takes in the rest of the cafe, fascinated by the jukebox, but playing no music. He looks at the items on the table, the telephone, and all I can think about is that damn fan in the background. If I were from 1847 and showed up here, I'd be super curious about that spinning circle thing on the wall. But Christian doesn't notice. He tells Mr. and Mrs. Joe that he's come down from Ohio. He left his party in the desert a few miles back. Mrs. Joe gives him some penicillin to keep away his infection. He doesn't know what to make of it, but if it's medicine, he needs it for his son. He turns and sees the picture behind them, showing the settlers who crossed through this area long ago, and he sees the year, 1961.
Who are you and where am I?
We fade out for a commercial break and come back to see a doctor coming out of the back room in the cafe. He's puzzled by the case of Christian. He speaks of delusions but seems entirely rational.
He can trace his imaginary life a whole lot clearer than any of us can our own.
So?
The fillings in his teeth. No modern-day dentist ever drilled in. And you saw his gun, Joe.
100-year-old gun, Joe, and you said yourself it looked like it was manufactured less than a year ago.
The doctor isn't claiming to believe him, the evidence is just peculiar. He calls the sheriff so he can come take Christian away. He may be a danger to himself or others. Christian comes out during this call and shows Mrs. Joe that he found mention of his son in a book in the back room. It's an encyclopedia. It says his son was a famous doctor that specialized in childhood diseases and vaccines. Born in Ohio, died in 1914.
Well, the world may be turned upside down, but I know that I've been put here for a reason.
He says goodbye, grabs his musket, but gets stopped by the doctor. He brushes him aside and has to hit Joe with his musket to get through the door. He runs and runs down the same road he came down earlier, but the sheriff sees him as he's crossing the street, up the hill he walked down at the beginning. He crosses the horizon and there's his party waiting for him. The police never reached him, and looking over the hill once more, the road and electricity poles are gone. But it wasn't his imagination. He's got the penicillin in hand. His wife Martha says he's only been gone a few seconds, and he gives her the penicillin.
Nothing much on the other side, was there? You'd be surprised, Charlie. There's a whole lot on the other side of that rim.
He gives a speech about what humanity will go on to build someday, and that it's people like them that will build it. Back at the cafe, Joe comes in with Christian's rifle that he dropped in the desert, but now it looks so old, nothing like it did just moments ago. It falls apart at the slightest tug. Was Christian telling the truth?
I think he went back to wherever it was he did come from. He just disappeared.
We end with Christian assuring his party that things will be fine, there's gotta be water up ahead, and they're gonna get to California. You know, this episode reminds me a bit of The Last Flight from Season 1. It's not just about someone slipping in and out of a period of time, it's about someone realizing they have to go back to their time to do the right thing. The Last Flight is the superior episode, obviously, but this one is pretty cool. The performance of Christian by Cliff Robertson, an Oscar-winning actor whose career spanned 6 decades, he's fantastic. He really cared about portraying this character right, and insisted on being able to pick the outfit so it would look authentic, like someone from Ohio at the time. The director strongly disagreed and they fought over it, until Rod Serling took Cliff's side and everyone eventually admitted it was the right call. A good professional actor significantly elevates these episodes, like we saw in Nick of Time with William Shatner. It's another of my top favorites of the season, written by Rod Serling. Nice one, man. Episode 24, The Rip Van Winkle Caper. Who's Rip Van Winkle? Well, he's a character from the book Rip Van Winkle, written by Washington Irving. Who's Washington Irving? He's the guy that wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. In the book, Rip Van Winkle drinks a liquor that makes him fall asleep for 20 years, and he wakes up after the American Revolution has happened. So we're gonna get another time travel story, I bet. Kinda. Some criminals are out in the desert celebrating the $1 million in gold they've stolen from a train. They don't come across as friendly to each other, arguing over stupid things. Their plan is to sleep inside these containers and wake up free men, no one looking for them, and with the gold at a much higher value.
Rip Van Winkle. That's what we are. 4 Rip Van Winkles.
However, the demolition expert on the team, DeCruz, doubts the plan and wants to take his money and leave.
I say everybody takes his cut now and takes his own chances.
One of the other men pulls a knife on him, saying that everything the boss has said and done has been right. The train heist went perfectly to plan, using a gas to knock everyone out. They're here for the plan and they're gonna stick to it.
How long, Powell?
Approximately 100 years from today's date, we shall walk the earth again. Is extremely rich man.
They lay in their capsules, a gas pumps in, and they go to sleep. Many years later, presumably, the crew wakes up, feeling okay, not having aged a day. No beard, no long nails, maybe it didn't work.
Must have worked. It was foolproof.
Outside, the road is still the same. This world is the same. But one of the men isn't with them. They go back and see he's still in the bed, the glass fractured by a falling stone, and his skeleton is inside, withering away. The boss says this is proof that they did actually sleep for 100 years, and DeCruz wants to know what the plan is for the gold. The boss laughs at DeCruz's small imagination and lack of appreciation for the moment.
Why is it, Mr. DeCruz, that greedy men are the most dreamless, the least imaginative? It's a world we've never seen before. A brand new, exciting world.
There's some arguing about who's gonna watch the gold as they're driving into town, and while one of the guys goes for water, DeCruz gets in the truck and runs the poor guy over. He then jumps out and lets the truck run off a cliff. Demonstrating what he's capable of, he puts the boss into a position where he's gotta do what DeCruz says. They're gonna split the gold 2 ways and start walking. They begin the long walk through the sands and eventually have to take a break.
At this rate, we won't reach it till tomorrow afternoon sometime.
At this rate, you'll never reach it.
The boss notices they haven't seen a single car on the road.
What if there were a war? What if they dropped a bomb?
Have they woken up in a world with no civilization, with useless gold? No, DeCruz sees jets in the air. Humanity lives on. He takes a drink of water, and the boss realizes he must have left his canteen back at the last place they stopped. Though I've got a feeling DeCruz might have taken it from him. DeCruz offers him a drink, but with conditions.
1 drink, 1 bar of gold.
He's got no choice but to accept it, but this isn't a fixed rate.
It may change tomorrow. I haven't checked the market, but for today, it's 1 for 1.
They march on in search of anything, really, and the boss has to keep handing over his gold for a drink of water.
The rate of exchange has gone up a little bit today. It's 2 bars of gold for 1 swallow.
The boss only has 1 bar left, grasping it in his right hand as he takes a drink, DeCruz mocking him and laughing. But when he leans down to pick up the gold, the boss uses his final bar to beat DeCruz over the head to death. He weeps over what has become of him, a murderer, out here in a world of nothing. He's too weak to hold on to anything but 1 bar, and he doesn't make it far. Eventually he collapses from exhaustion, and at the verge of death, someone finally discovers him. The boss offers him his final bar of gold, real gold, just for some water. And that's his final act on this earth. He passes away, and the stranger mourns his death. He picks up the gold bar and takes it over to his totally awesome future car and his hot wife, who wants to know what he's holding.
He offered this to me as if it was really worth something.
Didn't people use gold for money?
100 years or so ago, before they found a way of manufacturing it.
The twist: there is civilization, but gold lost its value a century ago when people found out a way to manufacture it. I don't know about that. I don't know what the science is, but are we ever going to be able to make gold? Shit, what do I know? So that's the episode. It's fine. I don't really know what to comment on it. It's got a little bit of a I shot an arrow into the air from season 1 feel, with the astronauts wandering around the desert and one of them starts killing the others. Episode 25, The Silence. Some of my favorite episodes of The Twilight Zone have nothing to do with the supernatural, or aliens, or time travel. They're just stories about people. Like The Fever from Season 1, I mentioned that earlier. It's just about a man going mad as he becomes addicted to slot machines. This is one of those simple, grounded tales of human behavior. If you haven't seen this episode and you're at all curious, please go watch it and come back. The two main characters of this story are Archie Taylor and Jamie Tennyson, two high society members of a gentleman's club. Jamie is on the younger end of the spectrum here in a group of mostly old men, but they're all rich. Jamie, however, can't keep his mouth shut. He talks and talks like everyone at the club is here for him, just rambling on and on about his business dealings. This is driving Archie absolutely crazy.
The only thing worse than his talking so much is his transparency.
Archie tells his buddy here that Jamie asked him for a $250,000 loan just last week. This isn't just his buddy, it's his lawyer, and he wants to know if what he has planned is legal, a wager of some sort.
No wager is legal in this state. Well, is it against the law, then? I don't see anything criminal in it, no.
He sends the help to deliver a note to Jamie, proposing his wager. The party comes to a stop, all eyes on Jamie. The contents of this note are offensive to him. He insists that it's a joke, but it's not. The wager for Mr. Jamie Tennyson is to shut up.
I will bet him $500,000 that he cannot remain silent for 1 year.
The deal is to stay in a room under observation. He'll be fed, he can have whatever he wants, whatever he needs. He can communicate through the written word, but he's got to go a year without using his voice, and Archie knows he can't do it.
I dislike you intensely, Tennyson. Without principles, without manners, you're a shallow, talkative, empty-headed ne'er-do-well. Your voice has become intolerable. I sit here each night and the sound of it makes me wince.
His bet is that Jamie will make it a few months before he eventually cracks. He'll keep his money and he'll enjoy some time without Jamie running his mouth at the club. He tells him he knows he'll take the bet because he's desperate for money. Jamie stands up to this bully, calling his bluff. He accepts, so they work out the details. Where is he to stay? How is he to be monitored, etc. They are to start tomorrow, but Jamie wants assurance. He wants the check certified, placed on deposit to him, and he wants it witnessed by the club. Archie refuses.
My credit is well known. So is my honor, as every member here will vouch for. You'll have to take my word.
It's my courage against your credit. Will a year from tomorrow night both can be proved.
Archie warns that he is deadly serious about this, but so is Jamie. He's in desperate need of money because of his wife's shopping habits.
She shops at Tiffany's the way other women enter a supermarket. My miserable misfortune is that I happen to be very much in love with her.
Women, am I right? We flash forward to check in on the bet, and Jamie's doing just fine. Jamie stays silent month after month, entertaining himself, not panicking or going mad, following the rules. Archie assures his lawyer that he'll crack at any moment.
You have the money, Archie. I find that insulting. I think that boy down there is going to remain silent for the entire year.
At the 9-month mark, Archie offers Jamie $1,000 to quit now. No way, the bet stands. Archie tries to manipulate him, saying his wife must be lonely, she hasn't paid him a visit, and she's been seen around town with other men.
You may lose your wife, Tennyson. I hope you're fully aware of that.
But this doesn't work, the bet stands. More time passes, Jamie continuing to be tormented by Archie coming in and putting ideas in his mind about what his wife is doing. He raises the offer to leave to $5,000, but he won't speak.
Listen, Tennyson, you cannot stay in there one more hour. Not another half hour.
Well, Jamie makes it the full year, and everyone's at the club waiting for him to come out. The lawyer confronts Archie about the rumors of Jamie's treatment, that he's trying to trick him with ugly rumors about his wife.
That boy down there is stronger than you gave him credit for, and you are considerably weaker.
Archie can't believe that Jamie has actually made it a full year without speaking, but here he is, emerging from his prison of silence to the applause of his peers. Now it's time to pay up.
You have me at a disadvantage, Mr. Tennyson. The truth is I am a fraud. I haven't any money. I lost most of my money some years ago. Now you have forced me to uncover the situation, proving that of the two of us, you are by far the more substantial.
Archie is flat out broke. He just isn't able to pay the debt. He tries to leave the club, now humiliated, but Jamie stops him. He looks like he wants to scream at him, but he doesn't. He says nothing. Everyone wants to know why he isn't talking. Jamie pulls out his pad and writes something for Archie.
I knew I would not be able to keep my part of the bargain. So 1 year ago, I had the nerves to my vocal cords severed.
Ah, poor guy. He knew he couldn't do it and tried to cheat. He went through it all for nothing. Not only did he win nothing, he lost something too. He lost a year with his wife as a free man, and he lost his voice forever. What a fantastic episode. I think it's my favorite of season 2. Written by Rod Serling. You know, I've crapped on him sometimes for a few of his bad or mediocre episodes, but he really did have some great ideas, I gotta admit. He's responsible for many great episodes, and this show in general, so you gotta love him. This episode, however, was actually based on a short story called The Bet from the late 1800s. Regardless, a fine episode indeed. One of the best twists in the series, and an ending that just twists you up inside, and you feel so bad for the guy. Episode 26, Shadow Play. Alright, 4 more episodes to go, guys. 4 more, here we go. Adam Grant sits in a courtroom awaiting final judgment. He is called to stand before the judge, looking utterly defeated. He's been found guilty of first-degree murder, sentenced to death.
You shall be put to death by means of electrocution.
No! I won't die again! Tell Mr. District Attorney that this isn't real! Make him understand they're only a dream I'm having!
Okay, there's a bit to decipher in this scene. We had Adam's bizarre reaction to the verdict. We have him yelling about this being a dream. He's pleading with the district attorney to tell everyone it's a dream. If they kill him, they kill everyone. And he tells the court reporter that the district attorney is prosecuting himself, whatever that means.
Tell the district attorney he's prosecuted himself! Tell him, Mr. Carson, before it's too late!
And for some reason, he knows the court reporter's name, Mr. Carson. It's pretty unusual for a defendant to know the name of the court reporter. Lots of information here in this opening scene, setting up an intriguing mystery. At the prison, we see prisoners just passing the time, Adam going crazy from the constant harmonica play from Coley in the cell across the hall. Coley apologizes, and Adam says,
It's my fault. I got you out of a bad movie I saw once. Just like everything else in this corny dream.
What does that mean? He got him out of a movie? Is this really a dream like he says, and Coley was created from his memory of an actor he saw once? Or was the memory of just any old man playing a harmonica in prison? Adam gets lectured by another prisoner on keeping his cool, on not thinking about his fate, but he admits he wonders what it'll be like to be executed. Adam tells him, seemingly from experience. We get this cool side-by-side shot of this recollection while we watch him speak. He goes through the whole process, touching the cold chair, having the cover placed over his head, and then the end.
It's musty. It smells like an old sofa. Any second. Any second. They pull the switch.
A very clever edit cutting to the sizzling steak. So we're in the district attorney's house now, his wife answering the door to let in Mr. Carson, the court reporter, presumably a friend of the family. He's quite drunk, and he serves himself some more, and some for his friends. He's pondering about his own death, hoping he's mourned, when he turns the conversation to Adam, who's to be executed in a few hours. He can't get his story out of his head that this is a dream, that he's been through this all before.
Well, why not? Can we prove he's wrong? Maybe not, but that's a poor reason for believing in anything.
Carson presses the DA, asking if he's ever wondered how this could all be real.
I couldn't have a lovely wife like Carol and a lovely home and money in the bank.
The DA is sure that Adam is just convincing himself that this is a dream because he can't accept his crime and punishment. Carson begs the DA to go see Adam and hear his story, because he's heard it so much that he believes it. Back in the prison, Adam is anxiously awaiting a visitor. He seems to know that the DA will come.
It's a district attorney. He usually comes around about 9.
He notices something off about this situation. The prisoner across the hall has a watch, and that doesn't make sense. Death row prisoners can't have watches because of the glass, a clue that this is a dream. The DA does in fact show up, and he takes a seat in the cell. Adam says the DA always comes around this time, but it isn't always him. What does that mean?
When I die, you die, and everybody in this world dies. It's a dream of mine. It's a nightmare. Can't you understand that?
Adam tries his best to convince the DA that he's done this before, that he dies, wakes up, and everyone from this world is gone. The DA asks what happens to their families, everyone not even involved in his story.
A dream builds its own world, Mr. Ritchie. It's complete. You only sleep and dream because I dream you that way.
The DA says fine, if this is just a dream, he's gotta wake up eventually, so just enjoy it. Adam laughs at the idea and wants to know if he's ever had a dream where something horrible happens to him, drowning or being tortured. It feels real, right? You wake up screaming. Do you want to dream that every night? Well, this is what's happening to him. His last attempt to convince him is to tell him that the steak his wife has in the oven is actually something else. And sure enough, it's a roast. And thank God, that steak would have been sitting in the oven for like an hour and a half at this point. Adam chats a bit more with the other prisoner about how he could get out of his death if he could prove he's insane to the governor. But first he's got to prove it to who he's talking to.
I got tried and sentenced the same day. It doesn't work like that. But you see, that's the way that I saw it in my mind. It's like a movie. So that's my impression of it.
Yeah, Adam has a point. It makes no sense for all of this to be happening in one day. The DA and Carson are at the house debating if it's evidence of a dream that the execution is happening right at midnight like it would in a movie. Right before Adam's end, he's visited by a preacher.
I wonder where I've seen you, where your face came from. Every time it just about comes to me.
He figures it out. He was the preacher he had as a kid, who died when he was 10. He knows his name, and suddenly remembers that the young man who replaced him was the man we know as Carson.
But what about Richie, the district attorney? He must have been a school teacher of mine.
Piecing together where these characters come from does him no good. He starts the walk to the execution chair. Carson and the DA are arguing about making the call to the governor to stop it. Carson makes the case that if Adam truly believes it's a dream, he's got a case. And how's the DA gonna sleep knowing they executed a mentally ill man and he could have stopped it? The DA makes the call.
I don't have time to explain, but I want you to grant a stay of execution in the case of Adam Grant.
The clock chimes midnight as the governor's call comes in. The guard readies the electric chair switch, and the living room of the DA starts to change. The lamp and the clock disappear from the scene and it fades to black. The scene fades back in, Adam at the defense table, the verdict about to be read by the judge, now played by the prisoner from the hallway as he calls upon the jury. Carson stands as a jury member. Adam stands up and totally freaks out when he's told he's about to be executed. The volume of the scene fades out for the Rod Serling send-off and we're out of there. Written by Charles Beaumont. Quality episode, just excellent. One of the few episodes I find genuinely terrifying. The concept just gets under my skin. We have a magnificent performance by Dennis Weaver from television's Gunsmoke, keeping the viewer fully immersed in his nightmare. I like that we spend time with other characters in the dream who believe they're real, which is something I don't typically see explored in stories about dreams. What are the lives of those inside someone's dream? Some cool ideas here, and an unhappy ending that leaves you with a haunting feeling. Toss it in the box with all the other high-quality episodes of this season. Episode 27, The Mind and the Matter. Let's keep it going, these episodes have been really solid. Give me another good one, please. We follow a man on the train headed to work, and his name is Archibald Beechcroft. What an unfortunate name. No woman wants to date a man named Archibald Beechcroft. We'll call him Archie. He's a bitter man, hates everyone around him, hates everyone he has to deal with at work. For a man who wants to be left alone, he works in the worst place, a big open room of people talking and making noise. Grabbing a bit of silence in the bathroom, he's interrupted by his supervisor who scolds him.
Keeping yourself fit is not only a personal obligation, Beechcroft. It's part of your responsibility to your job and to the firm that employs you. Pull yourself together, man. Get some sleep at night. Eat regular meals. You're not drinking, are you, Beechcroft?
I don't drink, Mr. Rogers.
Chatty Mr. Rogers continues to annoy him, about his diet mainly. Why is he so tired every day?
You ought to try coming to work on the subway at 7:30 every morning, jamming into an elevator like part of a herd of cattle. If I had my way, here's how I'd fix the universe. I'd eliminate the people. That absolute perfection that comes with solitude. And there'd only be one man left. Me, Archibald Beechcroft, Esquire.
I love how for this character that hates people, they have him shoved into this cramped cafeteria at lunchtime. Tables all scrunched together, everyone seemingly getting their lunch from machines across the wall. This place sucks. He sits with Henry, a man who accidentally spilled his coffee on him at the start of the day, really pissing him off, and Henry wants to apologize, so he got him a book.
You can achieve the ultimate power of concentration. A little on the occult side, isn't it, Henry?
He swears on it. There's apparently only one copy, and he saw his friend control someone's mind after reading it. Henry spills his drink again on Archie, and he recommends Chapter 3 as he walks away in shame. On the way home, packed into a train car, Archie reads the book. At home, having dinner, he even finishes it. The whole book in a day, and he buys into everything it's selling.
There's really no limit to what a man could do using the power properly. No limit at all.
If there's no limit to the power of imagination, what could he do?
I could just concentrate hard enough to getting rid of the people.
His landlord starts knocking at the door, yelling about his overdue rent. Archie focuses on making her disappear, and she does. How about that?
Today, the landlady. Tomorrow, the world.
Heading into a new day with his power of imagination, he clears out the entire subway for himself. The train pulls up completely empty, all the space for him. He commands the train to go, and it does. He can actually sit now. No, lay down. He gets to work and takes a newspaper without paying because, well, no one's here. Up on his office floor, he uses his powers to swing open the doors. He's got the whole place to himself. I don't know why he came to work at all, though. I mean, would you? Wouldn't you just go do awesome stuff? He looks out the window to see a barren city, and I guess this is a miniature, right? It's a really good one for TV at the time. I assume they didn't build it just for this show. Maybe it's loaned out from something else? I just don't understand what Archie is doing here. Why not transport yourself to a tropical island and conjure up some bikini models by the pool and some margaritas? I guess he wouldn't enjoy that either. Too loud and too many people, but come on, you use your free time to hang around the office as if your job defines you, instead of going to the mountains or even just a park or a movie? It's the one gigantic flaw this episode has. I just don't buy the story. Leave a comment about how it's actually brilliant. The rest of the episode is Archie talking to himself. Whether this is in his head or he's actually creating this conversation with his powers, it's up to you to decide. The boredom is getting to him, but he denies it.
Oh, don't talk nonsense, please. I'm content. I've rid myself of the worst scourge there is, the populace.
And he comes up with the worst solution to his boredom.
Any sort of diversion, an earthquake.
For goodness sakes, no!
In the subway, he amuses himself with a mustache drawn on a poster, but no one is around to see it. Archie must be missing people, and just after one day. He talks to himself, saying he can't even bring himself to summon one person, because one person is everyone.
Why didn't I think of it before? People who I can stand, people like myself. They'll be like me.
In the subway, he brings back loads of people, but when he gets to work, there's another him working at the stand, complaining about people just as he does. The elevator is full of Archies, actors wearing masks, and somehow it looks better than those terrible Matrix Reloaded Agent Smith faces. Archie is forced to deal with reality. He may think people are awful, but he's quite unpleasant himself. There's an Archie sitting at a desk complaining about the noise. There's another comparing people to pigs. Just Archie after Archie complaining about all the other ones. He has come to terms with the fact that he's no better than the people he disappeared. Everyone comes back and he's like, well, that's all over now. Henry comes in and spills coffee again, but he isn't upset. He keeps a level head. Henry asks if Archie got anything out of the book, and he denies it. It was interesting, but not very believable. It's a good episode, I guess, a bit flawed, but you know me, I like a good character arc. It makes me think there's still hope for me. We're approaching the end of the season now, just 2 episodes left. Hopefully it doesn't crash and burn into something supremely embarrassing. Episode 28, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? Eminem reference. I never knew exactly what that title was referencing, now I do. Sadly, we don't have any more 9 Inch Nails references this time like we did in Season 1. This is another well-known episode. You'll find it on plenty of best of lists, and I generally agree it's pretty good. A UFO lands in a pond in the woods. Presumably, we don't actually see it, audio only, and a couple cops are out inspecting the area. They suspect maybe it was a meteor. The pond's frozen, so they can't go see what it was. Leading from the pond, there are some footprints, or tracks of some kind. They lead in the direction of the diner up ahead, where a bus is waiting out front. They go in to check out the situation, and we're presented with our large cast of characters. The bus driver, the diner owner, an old married couple, a young married couple, a lone old rich man, a seductive pretty lady, and a ranting crazy man at the counter. The cops inform everyone that the bridge up ahead is on the verge of collapse due to the weather conditions, and since there's blockage back where they came from, it looks like they're stuck here till morning at least. The rich man immediately starts complaining about the business he has to take care of in the morning. He's hot-tempered, entitled, and rude, bitching to the cops and to the driver. The cops want to see the passenger manifest so they can verify that everyone in here was actually on the bus. But there isn't, not for such an old bus service. All the driver knows is that he picked up 6 passengers and that's what he's delivering. The lead officer verifies with the owner that no one was in here before the bus arrived. Everyone in the room realizes that one person shouldn't be here. Up to this point, the show is clearly trying to direct our suspicion towards the crazy man at the counter, because while I did already show you his face in the intro, the audience hasn't actually seen him yet. He's just been there in the background, shrouded in mystery. When we finally get to see him, it's when he spins around to mock the rich man's demand for representation if he's going to be interrogated by the police.
First he wants no shoes, then he wants a lawyer.
I don't remember seeing you on the bus.
The man at the counter has offset eyes and speaks in a wacky fashion. We're supposed to see him as dangerous, which I think means we can discount him as being the alien. Too obvious. The owner tells the cops he didn't hear the ship flying sound that was reported earlier, but something did land in that pond and walk towards the diner. People start to get scared, and this episode reminds me a lot of The Thing, where no one knows who to trust. It's the same trapped in a blizzard setup too, which is interesting. So you might think that this story influenced the movie. It's actually the other way around. The original movie, The Thing from Another World, came out in 1951, based on the 1938 short story Who Goes There, published in Astounding magazine. So it's likely that this episode draws from The Thing, not the other way around. The passengers debate the situation amongst themselves, positing arguments. Maybe someone just walked into the diner with them at the same time, and since everyone got on the bus during the start of a blizzard, they probably didn't really get a good look at each other, or how many people got on. The driver himself isn't sure of who got on the bus.
You wouldn't happen to have an eye in the back of your head, would you?
I know how you begin. Since it's just one person who doesn't belong here, you eliminate the couples.
The lovely lady has a point, but she also comes across as suspicious, speaking so endearingly towards the officers, so calmly and confidently giving them ideas for how they should investigate. Maybe she's manipulating them. Her idea sounds good, but it actually sparks more paranoia. Even the couples aren't safe.
I could have sworn you had a mole on your chin.
Never had a mole on my chin.
I think 23 years is long enough for a woman to know who she's married to.
The crazy man is quizzed on his knowledge of the World Series, and he's got the answers, and he teases about how much he and the other Martians love baseball. You know, it's kind of hard to talk about this episode and do it justice because it's a very simple premise. People in a diner think one of them is an alien. It's very dialogue focused, and I can't show too many clips because of the YouTube copyright system. Without the fun character interactions, you don't get the vibe, and it's just me listing things. The sexy lady is cleared by the bus driver because she's the only one he noticed. But the crazy man says, how do we know he's the driver? The rich man claims the driver is simply mistaken. That's the easiest explanation. There were 7 people on the bus after all, but the driver assures him there were not. Mid-interrogation, the diner's jukebox suddenly starts playing music. Then the lights start flashing. Was it caused by the storm or alien powers? Come morning, the cops say the bridge is looking better, but the driver still doesn't trust it enough to cross. The lights flash and the jukebox plays again. The characters bicker back and forth, hurling accusations. Then the sugar bowls start randomly exploding. The phone rings and they've gotten word from the county engineer that the bridge is now safe to cross.
I don't like that sucker. She swings in the wind and she's not a suspension.
The cops volunteer to cross the bridge first, and everyone gets up to pay their bill.
You had the chili, right? And you had, 14 cups of coffee. It was $1.40?
Hey, that's a bit odd, isn't it? Someone got 14 cups of coffee? This may be a clue as to someone's inhuman behavior, but it's shot in a way that it's easy to not notice who did it if you're not paying attention. It's a man with a dark coat and a hat, and cleverly this episode has 3 men dressed this way: the rich man, the crazy man, and the older husband. Everyone loads onto the bus and they take off. The scene fades out, and later we have a man in a coat and hat coming back to the diner and walking in alone. He orders a coffee. It's the rich man. He's talking about how the bridge collapsed. Everyone sank, everyone on the bus and the police officers. But how strange that he's all dry. Shouldn't he be wet?
What's wet?
What do you mean, what's wet?
The rich man reveals that what the owner is seeing is actually an illusion. Just like the ringing phone, just like the jukebox turning on, it's all a big sensory trick.
What are you, some kind of magician? Who, me? Oh, hardly.
Awesome effect right there, pulling out a third arm to light a cigarette. So the rich man, the alien, tells the owner that he was sent here as a scout for his people back on Mars. The scouts are here checking out the planet so they can come and colonize it. Our mystery has been solved, a fine end to a story of mistrust and paranoia, but they have to take it too far by revealing that it's not just the rich man that was an alien, you see. The owner is an alien too, oh my god!
You see, Mr. Ross, we folks on Venus had the same idea. We got it several years ago.
The Martians are in fact not on their way, because the Venus aliens have intercepted them and they'll be colonizing the planet instead. Oh my god, he has a third eye. And that's it. Man, I'm sorry. I like this episode, but I really could have done without the insane coincidence of I'm an alien too, you see? It's clumsy. If you like this silly over-the-top ending, fine, but it doesn't do it for me. Its clumsiness actually makes sense when reading that this wasn't the original ending. The alien was supposed to have been revealed as the owner's new pet dog, but it was too ridiculous. This episode feels like a great idea, spoiled by not knowing how to stick the landing. Still an enjoyable ride though, I'll put it somewhere in the middle. And here I want to take a moment to preempt some comments that are bound to be pointing out that I've missed the point with several episodes that I criticized or dared to say aren't brilliant. I want to say, yes, I do in fact get it. I understand that episodes like Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up and The Invaders are allegories for our own society, like The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, where we fear the outsider, fear the ones among us who could be evil, and how we turn on each other. The Invaders plays with our natural sympathies to those like us, only to show at the end that the main character is not one of us at all. I know there are messages, themes, metaphors, a lot of stuff you can take from these stories outside of their literal narratives and filmmaking elements like direction, acting, pacing, editing. But I guess it's just how I am. If the story and production itself don't do it for me, I don't really care about what it's trying to say. It's just like how if I don't like a song for its melody and beat and all that, the lyrics don't really matter to me, even if they're super well written. I need to like the song first. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. And here we are! Final episode of Season 2 of The Twilight Zone. Episode 29, The Obsolete Man. Another episode with Burgess Meredith, and this one is bizarre. Quite different from any other episode of the show. This is a portrayal of the future, a future of American dictatorship where a person's worth is decided by the state. A cold, heartless system, today calling on Mr. Wordsworth to determine his fate.
But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Mr. Wordsworth has been investigated for the past year, and the state has determined that he is not useful to society. He is obsolete. When asked to give his occupation, he states he's a librarian, and everyone in the room laughs.
A what?
A librarian, sir.
Are you sure he knows his rights? He's been given orientation, sir.
His occupation is likened to that of a priest who speaks of the will of God, but in this dictatorship they claim to have proved there is no God, so this occupation is obsolete, just as Mr. Wordsworth is.
There is a God.
You are in error, Mr. Wordsworth.
The state has proven that there is no God!
The next few minutes are a back and forth about whether or not he is obsolete. It's basically two big speeches. The writing is bold, thoughtful, intense, and the performances equally so.
Since there are no more books, Mr. Wordsworth, there are no more libraries.
Words, Mr. Wordsworth!
You waste our time, Mr. Wordsworth, and you're not worth the waste.
Mr. Wordsworth is sentenced to death, and he is offered a choice of how to die. Gas, pills, firing squad, at any point in the next 2 days. He makes an odd request, to be appointed an assassin to whom he will give his preferred method of dying. No one else can know. And further,
I should like to die with an audience.
That can be arranged indeed. It has an educative effect on the population.
I have no doubt.
his death will be televised from his own room at midnight tomorrow. He leaves the court of judgment, and the authorities speak of this great opportunity to educate the public.
We'll show the people how this obsolete man, this librarian, dies.
The next day, Mr. Wordsworth invites the judge to his place to speak shortly before he's scheduled to die, by means unknown to anyone else. It's dangerous for the judge to come visit someone in this circumstance, as he's vulnerable to becoming a victim of the sentenced man's vengeance. But he's here to prove something to Mr. Wordsworth and the world watching on television.
I'll tell you why I came, Mr. Wordsworth. To prove to you that the state has no fears, none at all.
You will forgive me, Chancellor, but that has all the elements of a joke. To have to prove that the state isn't afraid of an obsolete librarian like myself.
Like the previous episode, this is very dialogue heavy. I can't just explain every point they make because they're debating back and forth about society and people's place in it. It's not a lot of plot, it's more about ideas. You really gotta watch it for yourself to get it. The camera lights come on and the broadcast begins. The judge brags about the great number of executions they've already performed on television. This new state has learned from dictatorships of the past and taken them to their true conclusion, eliminating the obsolete, the old, the sick, the useless. The judge takes sick pleasure in what's about to occur, encouraging Mr. Wordsworth to cry and beg so the world sees his desperation. He leaves him to die about 40 minutes from now, but Mr. Wordsworth tells the judge he isn't going anywhere. His chosen way to die is by explosion, and he's rigged the door to lock.
How does a man react to the knowledge that he's going to be blown to bits? That depends on the individual.
If the state truly has no fear, if there is no hell awaiting, surely the way the judge deals with imminent death is more honorable than this old obsolete fool. No one is around to pull the judge out to safety, and Mr. Wordsworth assures him that the state will not come to his rescue, because that would show weakness on their part.
You wanted the whole country to see the way that a librarian dies. Well, let the whole country see the way an official of the state dies, too.
With nowhere to go, the judge sits, forced to listen to Mr. Wordsworth reading Bible passages from his forbidden book. Can he stay cool? Is the state truly fearless and all-powerful? The clock counts closer and closer to the moment of detonation, the word of God and the anticipation wearing down on the judge bit by bit. Eventually he cracks, he begs to be set free, and Mr. Wordsworth honors his request, in the name of God. The bomb goes off, killing the at-peace Mr. Wordsworth, and the judge is safe on the staircase. Later, the judge is pulled in front of the same court he used to command, where he's declared obsolete for his cowardice in the face of death.
You have disgraced the state. You have proven yourself a coward. You have therefore no function.
He pleads for his life as his peers stop his resistance. They all close in around him, groaning and acting like zombies, which is kind of weird. What are they going to do, tear him apart? And that's it. End of episode, end of season. I think it's okay. The performances and overall oppressive tone of the episode make it work. I could listen to Burgess Meredith all day. The themes of encroaching authoritarianism are of course relevant, as they are pretty much at any time, but I imagine this one resonates much deeper with you if you are religious. It reminds me of the Book of Eli. If you're not a Christian, then you probably don't care too much about a man's attempt to save a copy of the Bible in the apocalypse. It's a good message of human individuality, of freedom, and Rod Serling comes in to close it out.
Any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete.
Poignant words for the world of today, that's for sure. Not as good of a season ender as A World of His Own in Season 1, but not a bad one either. So, did I think Season 2 is better, worse, or more or less equal to Season 1? Man, that's a tough question. I'll say right away that there's no episode in this season that even comes close to The Last Flight. I adore that episode so much, and boy am I pissed off that my approaching 1 million views video on it was demonetized by Paramount, costing me thousands of dollars in ad revenue. I think Season 1 stories like Time Enough at Last, Long Live Walter Jameson, and Then the Sky Opened Up are more memorable and satisfying than most of what we see in Season 2. But that doesn't mean this season doesn't have some remarkable high points. William Shatner in Nick of Time immediately comes to mind. Eye of the Beholder is simply iconic. I love the Christmas episode. A Penny for Your Thoughts was probably the most fun of the season, as well as the prime mover. Static took us through the dangers of romanticizing nostalgia, 100 Yards Over the Rim was a fun time travel story, and right near the end of the season we get, in my opinion, the two best episodes of the season, The Silence and Shadow Play. Low points for me were, I'm sorry, The Invaders, A Thing About Machines, oh god, that one was a chore to get through, The Lateness of the Hour, Nervous Man in the $4 Room, and I'm sorry, I didn't particularly like the opening episode either. But much like the first season, the good heavily outweighs the bad, and many faults can be forgiven due to how old the show is, how quickly it had to be produced, and it's just such an important and revolutionary show that you can easily shrug off any subpar episodes. And the ones I think are bad, you may think are good, so maybe this doesn't even apply to you. It's been a real pleasure experiencing this show beyond a handful of episodes I already knew. Will I do season 3? I don't know. Will I do another season of the 1985 reboot? I don't know. These videos are a massive amount of work. That's why it was a full year break from the last one. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you haven't seen my other Twilight Zone stuff or my RoboCop analysis videos, take a look around. Bye bye.